Outside, the rain poured relentlessly, turning the streets into rivers of water, reflecting the glow of countless colorful umbrellas. Hua Than ran along the soaked pavement, completely exposed to the storm. He carried nothing to shield himself, yet he didn't slow down. All he needed was to cross to the opposite side to reach his home. The rain grew heavier with each passing moment, but he paid it no mind. His shoes squelched under the deluge, water dripping with every hurried step. Finally, he reached a dry spot, and only then did he pause to climb the stairs leisurely. Through the window, he observed the rain still pouring without any sign of letting up. Unfazed, he continued upwards, reaching the pitch-dark hallway of his home. He flicked the switch, and light flooded the space. That was when he saw her. A girl dressed in an ancient costume stood before him, gripping a sword and watching him with caution. She was soaked through, yet her stance was rigid, vigilant. Hua Than stared at her in surprise, his face betraying a mix of confusion and curiosity. He had no idea who she was. The palpable tension made him step back a few stairs. Only then did he notice the details of her outfit. She frowned at him, annoyance clear in her expression. Hua Than relaxed immediately, realizing it was simply a cosplay. Stepping forward again, his eyes wandered over her pose, the sword in her hand, the straw sandals on her feet. Suddenly he felt a surge of admiration. The stance, the detail, it was impressive. Before he could linger further, she shouted at him to stop. "I live here," he replied, perplexed, wondering why she would react so cautiously. She introduced herself as Kuong Hoa, keeping her hand on the sword hilt. Hua Than could only shake his head, silently remarking on how strange she was. She stepped back, calling his actions disrespectful, but Hua Than decided to ignore her and entered his home. Even inside, he couldn't resist glancing at her. She remained in the corner, unmoving, still holding her pose. He went to the bathroom to wash up, water dripping from his clothes onto the floor. Afterward, he took a soda from the cabinet, grabbed a food bag from the fridge, and called out for his cat, Bai Dao. The cat emerged, eyes bright and curious, and Hua Than settled down to watch it eat while enjoying his soda. The refreshing combination of a shower and a cold drink brought a rare smile to his face. The rain showed no signs of stopping outside. Dark clouds rolled endlessly across the sky. Hua Than picked up an umbrella, peeking through the peephole to see if she had left. The street was empty, yet his curiosity drove him to open the door. And there she was. Kuang Hoa appeared as suddenly as a ghost, her eyes still sharp with intensity. Kuan Tan froze, unsure of what to say. Awkwardly, he gestured to the umbrella. "It sits still raining. If your home sits far, maybe you should head back. I can help you call someone if you need." She ignored his suggestion and asked a different question. "Where is this?" "This is my home, in the residential area on Back Fong Street," he replied. Her frown deepened, and she asked again, "Who are you?" Hua Than hesitated. Should he call himself a kind neighbor or a lunatic? Reluctantly he said, "Just call me Hua Than." He offered the umbrella to her, waiting for her response. After a long silence, she finally spoke. "I am originally a disciple of the Yan clan. I do not know why I am here." She clasped her hands and bowed. Hua Than could only sigh. She was clearly obsessed with her cosplay, lost in her own world. Turning to go inside, he told her, "Come in, it's cold out here." Once she entered, he called the security team. "Uncle Zhao, is that you? It's little Hua." Kuang Hoa's attention shifted to the television. On the screen, a group of people raised their hands and shouted in unison. The sight startled Hua Than, but what followed left him completely dumbfounded. In a sudden furious motion, Kuang Ho thrust her sword into the TV, shattering it completely. Kuan Dan froze, stunned, as the security guard on the phone repeatedly asked him what had happened. He could only stand there, realizing that he had no idea what kind of person or situation he had just brought into his home. At that moment, Kuang Hoa turned to face him, her eyes bloodshot and sharp. Kuang Hoa turned, still holding the phone, tried to mask his panic. "It's nothing, uncle. Please continue with your work," he said awkwardly, casting a blank stare at her as she had just smashed his television. A surge of fury rose within him, so intense it nearly drove him mad. The scene resembled something straight out of a violent movie, yet he forced himself to remain calm, a strange smile on his face as he asked, "Where did you say you came from?" She cautiously probed the empty room with her sword, as if checking for invisible threats. Then she turned to him. "Also, who were you just talking to?" Hua Than's gaze swept over her once more. Could she be part of some traveling circus? But no, their performers didn't dress like this. Straw sandals, smashing someone else's property. Could she even afford to compensate for this? Raising his hands in surrender, he said, "How about putting the sword away first? I'm a good person. I even offered you an umbrella earlier." Kuang Hoa tightened her grip on the hilt, then yanked the sword out of the shattered television with a sharp pull. Kuan Thana forced a smile, trying to calm the situation. "What's your name? Where are you from?" She sheathed her sword, then introduced herself solemnly. "Kuang Hoa, disciple of the Yan clan." "The Yan clan? Sounds impressive. Is it very big? Where is it located?" he asked. Surprised, she replied. The Yan clan of Suzhou. Have you never heard of it? Hua shook his head, carefully choosing his words. Never heard of it, he admitted. Glancing at her drenched form, water streaming from her head to her feet, he tried to reassure her. Anyway, I step a good person. I can help you. If you have any problems, just ask me. She answered solemnly. I want to go home back to the Yang clan. He pinched the bridge of his nose, helpless. This is the residential area on Bakvong Street, Vinkang New District, Jiangthan City. Do you know Jiangthan? Shaking her head, she seemed entirely lost. Hua muttered to himself. Could she be from ancient times? But he quickly laughed it off, though curiosity gnawed at him. Do I have to ask who the emperor is? Unexpectedly, she shot him a sharp glare and said, His Majesty. He pressed on. So who is His Majesty? Her answer was simple, unwavering. His Majesty is His Majesty. Bewildered, he asked, May I ask what year it is now? Isn't it the 16th year of Kaiyuan? She replied blankly. Huathan's eyes widened in horror. This girl was clearly not joking. Gesturing for her to wait, he pulled out his phone and began searching for information online. Emperor Shunzong, right, that sips him. Li Longji, he turned to her again. Do you know Li Bai, Li Taibai, the Blue Lotus resident? At this, Kuang Ho finally smiled. You know him? Where is he? Huathan paused, recalling the character from a game, imagining him fighting monsters in some distant valley. Suddenly, a knock at the door interrupted them. Your order has been delivered, called the delivery person. Kum Ha tensed, readying her sword. Who sets that? Whose voice is that? Huathan panicked. Wait, it's someone delivering food for me, not a bad person. Step back, don't let them see you. She frowned. Is it a servant? No, a food delivery person, he clarified. The delivery person called out politely, and Huathan thanked them as they left. Kuan Hoa asked again, Are we fighting? He placed the food in front of her. Are you hungry? Let's eat together. She hesitated. No need, thank you. Her gaze lingered on him, as though he were some strange creature. Why do you all have short hair? Is this place a penal colony? Huathan chuckled softly. No, wait, what do you mean by see you all sit? She explained that she had arrived 1 watch ago, silently observing the world. 1 watch ago, 2 hours. He realized she had been wandering in the rain, sword in hand, without anyone noticing. Luckily, nothing had gone wrong. He brought a piece of bread to his mouth. Did no one see you? No, she replied. I just moved through the shadows. Satisfied, he was about to take a bite when she leaned in and demanded, You still haven't answered my question. He hesitated. How should I put this? Just consider it a local custom. No special reason. He offered her a bite. Want to try? I'm sure you never eaten this before. She leaned forward to smell the sandwich, but shook her head firmly. Huathan then handed her a cup of water. Drink something to quench your thirst. It's sweet. You probably haven't had this before. Anger flared in her eyes. Are you looking down on me? You said it was rice. So what is this? Huathan held up his hands in exasperation. I'm not looking down on you. Anything that fills your stomach is considered a meal. This is called a hamburger. Accidentally, he brushed against a Coca-Cola can and it toppled to the floor. Both stared at it silently, tension thick in the air. Really not poison. He tried to reassure her. This is a carbonated soft drink. Too late. Kuang Ho's anger surged, sword raised. Huathan grabbed the can and drank it all in one go, hoping to prove he meant no harm. She shook her head firmly, unyielding, and he realized just how unpredictable this young disciple of the Yan clan truly was. Huathan forced a smile and said, Can you stop drawing your sword at the slightest thing? I'm a good person. If I were an estate, I would have locked you out long ago. Who would care if you lived or died, right? Kuang Hoa stared at him, expressionless. He gestured toward the cat, its fur standing on end, its scared to death. Glancing back, he noticed she was still gripping her sword tightly. In that instant, he realized there were only 3 ways to handle this situation. The first was simple: trick her outside and lock the door, leaving her hungry or cold, letting her swing the sword as she pleased. In 3 days, he might see a news article about her arrest or demise. The second option was to call the police. Perhaps a descendant of Emperor Xuanzong had somehow appeared in modern society, but using such a persona, an ancient warrior girl, the police would certainly think he was joking, and if something went wrong, they would ask her questions. Who is this man? Where do you live? The outcome could be bloody and catastrophic. Imagining that scene, Huathan shuddered and covered his face. After a brief pause, he considered the third option: let her stay and see how things unfolded. An ancient female warrior stood in his living room, sword in hand. Could he simply force her out? Despite her violent tendencies, the thought of expelling a person from over 12 centuries ago made him uneasy. What if she possessed extraordinary skills, qigong, combat techniques, or worse? Forcing her into the outside world might leave her lost, wandering, or in danger, and if she survived, someone might take her in. The consequences of misjudgment weighed heavily on him, yet the very strangeness of the situation stirred a thrill inside him. He offered her the sandwich once again. Kukwang Hoa looked at it longingly, tempted, but still refused. She backed away, eyes fixed on it, and asked, "What is this?" Hua Than took a sip of water before replying, "Food, or should I eat a piece first to prove its set's not poisoned?" Her eyes lit up. "All right," she said, allowing him to take a cautious bite. Still, he worried. If she was unaccustomed to this food or found it distasteful, she might react violently. Thinking quickly, he decided to order something more familiar. Yet, Kuang Hoa's gaze lingered on the sandwich as it gradually disappeared, her expression growing increasingly frustrated. He patted the space beside him. "Do you know where this is? Sit down, and let's talk. You're holding that sword, and I'm genuinely scared." Slowly she approached, cautious with each step. Hua Than marveled at the rare sight, wishing he could capture it on his phone. As she finally sat down, he smiled mischievously. Though everything was unfamiliar, she seemed to understand the gesture with the umbrella. This man, despite his strangeness, had intended to help her from the start. The room, the food, and his odd behavior made her wary, but she kept her curiosity in check. "Where is this?" she asked again. "Jiangcheng City," Hua Than replied patiently. "It steps hard to explain. Do you know Li Bai?" Her eyes widened. "Do you know where he is?" He nodded, pretending assurance. "Listen carefully, put down your sword first. I don't want you to get agitated." She placed the sword on her lap, still tense. "It doesn't matter where, I just want to go home," she said dejectedly. Hua Than studied her for a moment. "You can go back anymore. This place is very far from your home." "How far?" she asked, confused. "Over 1,200 years," he said carefully. Her brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" Using his fingers, he traced gestures on the table to explain. "This place is 1,200 years later. In your era, there were Emperors Xuanzong, Li Bai, Yang Gifei, and Enlushan. Your emperor, your friends, the people you knew, they all lived over 1,000 years ago. They are dead." Shock registered on her face. She stood abruptly, exclaiming, "Nonsense." Hua Than replied calmly, "Whether it seems nonsense or not, you can investigate. Everything here is unfamiliar. Consider this a completely new world." He added, "The Jade Palace in the high heavens, 12 magnificent halls. You know Li Bai Sep's poem, right? Think of it like that." She objected firmly. "He never wrote this poem." He coughed lightly, hiding his embarrassment. "A minor mistake. Perhaps when you knew him he hadn't written it yet. He might have been only in his 20s. You can study literature later. For now, understand this world's rules. It is dangerous, but also safe. If you learn its ways." She still looked unconvinced. Hua Than continued, "You're smart. You can make your own judgment. Haven't you seen outside? The world now is completely different. The people you know are history. If I were thrown 1,000 years into the future, I'd likely be as lost as you are. You're not violent. You're scared. That's all." Huang Hoa, frustrated and angry, decided to leave. "Boastful. I don't believe you," she snapped. Hua Than quickly stepped forward. "Wait." Immediately, she pointed her sword at his face again. He raised his hands helplessly. "I've already told you, this world has its laws. You need to learn them if you want to stay safe. For example, you can carry weapons around freely. Going out like this would be extremely dangerous." She tilted her head, curious. "Why are you helping me?" Hua Than glanced at the cat. "At first, Bai Dao was outside too. I brought him in to raise him." "Bai Dao?" she repeated. Smiling, Hua Than picked up the plump cat. "It's this fat cat." Huang Hoa Sip's expression darkened again, her hand twitching toward the sword. "Are you looking down on me?" Both the man and the cat flinched. Hua Than quickly shook his head. "No, not at all." She stood solemnly, studying him carefully. Meanwhile, Hua Than muttered to the cat, "Why is your fur falling out so much?" Huang Hoa thought to herself, though she couldn't be sure what was true or false in his words, she sensed he meant no harm. He was just an ordinary person returning home, unexpectedly encountering her. The evening darkened outside, and he had simply lent her an umbrella out of kindness. "Why are you helping me?" she asked again. Hua Than shrugged. "To be honest, I am curious. This is too miraculous. Perhaps if you went to my era and met someone from 1,000 years in the future, you and find it miraculous too." Her eyes narrowed. "If such a strange person appeared, they be killed by the daily sea." Hua Than sighed. "Different eras. Here we can kill at will. Everyone loves peace. I don't know why you came here. If we find out, maybe you can return. But before that, you need to learn how to live in this world. First, you cannot harm others at will. You also cannot destroy things." She stiffened, feeling her pride wounded. "If you can do that, I can help you. Or, you can leave now," he added carefully. "It's best not to harm anyone outside. Officials are everywhere, and they powerful." She paused. reflecting. I don't set know anything about this place. The clothing, the customs, maybe I can set even leave the city. If I go outside, I one set know where to go. Hua Then nodded. If you agree, put down your sword. I still order food for you. Actually keeping you here is risky. Two-way risk. I need to prevent others from discovering you, and I worry that if there's any misunderstanding you might strike me. Do you understand? For a long moment Kuang Ho remained silent, then she finally threw her sword aside. Hua Then asked what she usually ate, to find something familiar for her. He briefly considered fried dough sticks, but decided on porridge with steamed buns instead. You stir all wet, take a bath first, then eat. Do you have internal energy to dry your clothes? She looked blankly at him. Where is the bath? He led her to the bathroom, and she looked surprised as he opened the door. This world has many miraculous things, he explained. You don't need to be afraid. No one here wants to harm you. At least I once sit. He showed her the shower. Left is hot, right is cold. Press down to stop, lift up for water. Try it. She practiced while he pulled out his phone to record this strange but real moment. This is shampoo, he said. Press here, it comes out. Apply to your head, it foams when clean. He explained the toilet and other basics before heading to the living room. Remembering she needed clothes, Hua Thang carefully selected a suitable outfit. None seemed quite right until he found one acceptable. He opened the bathroom door, and she jumped slightly. He realized she didn't know how to lock it. I don't have women's clothes, he explained. This will do for now. I'll buy you more tomorrow. He taught her how to lock the door. Once secured, he stepped back, sighing in relief. Luckily, she hadn't undressed completely, otherwise it might have ended badly. In the bathroom, Kuang Ha happily played with soap bubbles, even tasting a bit and grimacing. Outside, Hua Then leaned back, reflecting. Picking up an ancient person, a female warrior, was surreal. He examined her sword. The blade was so polished he could see his reflection. He thought to himself he should show it to his father, to see if it was a genuine antique. Later, Kuang Ho emerged from the bathroom. She spotted Hua Then writing at the table and sat beside him. What are you writing? She asked, leaning over. He awkwardly held up the paper. Just organizing some issues that need to be addressed right now. Can you read the characters? She examined it carefully. It's strange, very hard to distinguish. Hua Then replied calmly, I said'll explain everything after I finish writing. Kuang Hoa picked up the clothes he had prepared and frowned. These clothes they sip are very strange. Hua Then smiled awkwardly. They seps are quite nice. This is the custom here. Complimenting someone is normal. It's seps not a joke or anything. She frowned deeper. It's seps best not to say frivolous things. He sighed, then noticed her straw shoes. There are slippers over there. Take a pair and throw away those straw shoes. I still buy you a new pair tomorrow. She looked down at her feet, then obediently changed into the slippers. Hua Then watched her and thought, how adorable. Suddenly a sound came from the door. The food is here. Kuang Hoa shrank back, tense. Hua Then waved his hand. It's just a food delivery person. No need to be afraid. He thought to himself how vigilant she was, like a stray cat without a home. The delivery person handed him the bag. Enjoy your meal, they said, and Hua Then brought it inside. She sat at the dining table where he had already set the food, muttering, I remember my nanny used to say that people who treat you too enthusiastically can only be thieves. Hua Then froze, worried, but then she smiled, a rare and beautiful smile. But you are a good person, she said. Hua Then sat beside her, watching as she ate carefully, bit by bit. When she finished, he spoke, Are you full? Now let's talk a bit. In short, you are a person from 1200 years ago. Kuang Ho remained silent. He continued patiently, whether you accept it or not, our conversation will be based on this fact. First, this place is safe, at least in this room. Even if you used your sword on me, as long as my body doesn't start to rot, you could hide here without starving, but you can only stay hidden for about a week. Nothing serious will happen in that time. There's no need to constantly hold your sword. You don't understand this world yet. He tapped the broken TV. For example, this is just a tool that produces sound. It's harmless entertainment. He hesitated, then added, Anyway, there are many entertainment tools here. He pulled out his phone and pointed at it. I'm telling you this so you know this place is safe. Anything I do that you don't understand is normal. I won't harm you. Do you understand? Kuang Ho remained silent, hands clasped on her lap. Hua Then sighed. Next, the situation outside is a bit complicated. Now it's a peaceful world. People live and work in peace. But while it's safe for me, it's dangerous for you. She asked sharply. Why? Hua Then explained. Because if you suddenly appear outside, you might unintentionally hurt others. It's like walking around the imperial palace with a knife. You suddenly be arrested immediately. Just by looking different, people will know you such an outsider. He opened a drawer and retrieved a card. This is an ID card. Everyone has one, with their birth date. If someone commits a crime, officials can track them using this. Officials check the streets constantly. If someone suspicious is spotted, they'll investigate thoroughly. Without an ID, your presence would be exposed, and the consequences could be severe. The laws here are strict, and the officials are capable. Anyone carrying a weapon illegally is in serious danger. That's why hiding you is critical. If your identity is revealed, the whole world would be shocked. An ancient female warrior still alive. Thoang Hoa considered this. I see, you mean I sip in a vagrant? Hua Than rubbed his chin, roughly, but it sets more serious than that. To be precise, it sets like being a slave without a contract. If caught, it would be miserable. Being an exception carries even graver consequences. Your situation is very dangerous. He continued, I stem thrilled to meet someone from 1200 years ago. It stems magical, and I want to help you adapt to this world gradually. Kuang Hoa lowered her head. Why should I trust you? I just want to go home. Hua Than shrugged. If you don't trust me, we can part ways here. Helping you is not easy. If you wander outside, you still instantly become famous online. You must cooperate. Without trust, I can help you. They remained silent for a long moment. Finally, she asked, so what should I do? Hua Than picked up her sword gently. First, don't draw your sword at the slightest provocation. That's terrifying to people here. Now, if you have questions, ask them. I still answer everything for you. Kuang Ho paused for a moment, then asked a question that made Hua Than freeze. Where is your wife? Hua Than was momentarily stunned, thinking to himself that this was indeed a typical question from a woman. Cautiously, Kuang Ho continued, is my presence here inconvenient? Hua Than felt a little awkward. This poor guy has been single for over 2 years, still unmarried. She looked up, surprised. Not married? The atmosphere thickened, heavy with silence. Hua Than covered his face and sighed. In our place, unmarried men and women living in the same room is completely normal. It's not like I expect anything from you. I just happen to have a spare room. He turned and gestured for her to follow him. A pile of belongings spilled out as he moved, and he quickly began tidying up. Just a moment ago we were exchanging pleasantries, and now I'm cleaning a room for her, he thought. Kome Hoa slung her sword over her back, quietly observing. The customs here are so strange, an old landlord still unmarried. Hua Than Ha continued, for now you can use my winter blanket. Everything else has been washed. Rest early. I know your mind must be in turmoil right now. Mine certainly is. Perhaps when we wake tomorrow we shall find that none of this was real. He finished his tasks and started to leave but remembered something. Turning back he added, oh right, my name is Hua Than. He closed the door behind him, wishing her good night. Kong Hoka checked the room carefully before sitting on the bed, confirming everything was safe. Night fell over the old apartment complex. Hua Than lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. It really doesn't feel real at all, he thought. During the day he had gone out for a job interview, got caught in the rain, and now, exhausted, he had picked up a girl who drew her sword at the slightest provocation, claiming to be from ancient times. Hua Than sighed, covering his face. Forget it. Sleep first, figure it out tomorrow. Morning sunlight streamed through the window, waking him slowly. He reached for his phone, checked the time and mumbled, only 10 a.m. Suddenly he remembered yesterday's SIP's events and sat up in alarm. Peeking carefully out of the room he saw Kung Ho sitting silently on the sofa, sword in hand. She called out, Hoa Than. He pretended nothing had happened, stepped out, scratched his head and said, ah, it wasn't a dream after all. He coughed twice, walked over and greeted her. Up early, aren't you? Kuang Hoa replied coldly, it's almost noon. Hua Than froze. This one do, he muttered, quickly changing the subject. Are you hungry? She cracked her knuckles cautiously. A little. Despite her cold expression, her stomach growled audibly, betraying her hunger. Embarrassed, Kuang Hoa ran to her room. Hua Than called after her, wait. She came out and handed him a piece of silver. Although you don't lack these things. Hua Than interrupted shamelessly. Do you have gold? He thought to himself, stealing silver isn't much, but gold will always hold value. Maybe we'll need it later if we can't make an ID card. I don't have much, but what if this female warrior has assets? Kuang Hoa removed the necklace from her neck. This might be worth a few taels of silver. Hua Than quickly stopped her. Stop, forget it. I was just asking casually. How could I take your money for food? He returned the silver to her. Kuang Hoa looked confused. Observing her disheveled appearance, he said, later when we go out, I shall buy you clothes and bring food back. Remember, don't wander outside alone, it's dangerous. Hua Than went into the bathroom to wash his face, thinking about how to adapt her wardrobe. Even my clothes are strange for her, but better than yesterday. We need to tidy her hair, make her modern, but it has to be discreet. Luckily, there's a police station across the street. Safe enough. After planning, Hua Than left the apartment and headed straight for a clothing store. Pointing at items he said, I still take this, and that one too. Passing a cute pink spaghetti strap dress, he stopped and pointed. Give me one like this. He continued shopping, finally entering a women's lingerie store. Gritting his teeth, he thought, I can't leave empty-handed. After an hour, he walked out with the items, cheeks flushed from embarrassment. Next, he passed a bookstore, thought for a moment, and bought a few random books for 200 yuan. Not sure if they'll be useful, but better bring them home anyway. Finally, feeling satisfied with his purchases, he headed back, preparing to help Kuang Hoa adapt further to this new world. Hua Than sighed in relief as he headed back to his apartment. As he reached the door, the security guard greeted him warmly. Mr. Hua, just back from shopping? Hua Than nodded, quickly hiding the lingerie bag behind his back. The guard continued, oh right, last night you called me. Nervously, Hua Than interrupted, Uncle Jia, I just misdialed. It was nothing. Have you eaten yet? Just finished. Be careful when you go out. Close your windows properly. Old Liang said there might be thieves around lately, so keep an eye out for anyone suspicious, the guard advised. Hua Than smiled politely. Yes, I still remember. Pushing open the door, he called out, I'm back. His eyes immediately fell on Kuang Hoa, standing alert with her sword drawn. Seeing him, she relaxed and lowered her weapon. He handed her the food. Didn't Set I tell you? It's Set's absolutely safe here. Just relax for now. Let Sets eat first. Walking toward the pile of things he had just bought, he added, I also got you some necessities. We shall look at them after eating. Huang Hao nodded politely. Thank you. A sudden thought flashed through Hua Than Sip's mind. Seeing his puzzled expression, Huang Hao asked, What's Sip's wrong? With countless imaginations running through his head, he clasped his hands theatrically. Shouldn't Set you say thank you, young hero Sit. Am I considered a young hero? Or a good man? Or something else? He wondered silently. Kuang Hoa didn't Set fully understand, but still replied politely, Thank you, young hero. Hua Than immediately struck a martial arts pose with clasped hands. It Set's nothing. Huang Hoa's expression twisted slightly, uncomfortable. Hua Than noticed her agitation, though she didn't realize it. She was being teased. He opened the takeout box. Alright, let's Sits eat. The moment she saw the food, Kuang Ho pounced like a starving tiger. Kuang Than sat beside her, mouth agape. In his imagination, girls were supposed to eat elegantly, with delicate gestures, but this girl was entirely unrestrained. He smiled at her enthusiasm, and joined her in eating. After they finished, he said, These are the clothes I bought for you. I'm not sure about your size, but judging by your height, they should fit. Try them on later. He held out the pink spaghetti strap dress and matching shoes. Wear this if you like it. Flat shoes should be more comfortable than your cloth shoes. He hesitated, picking up another bag. They're Sip's also. Before he could finish, Kuang Ho interrupted. What's that? She had already picked up the lingerie he had bought and held it in front of him. He tossed her the bag. You self figure out how to wear these later. If not, I self find instructional videos. Videos? Kuang Ho asked. Blankly. Hua Than nodded quickly. Many sets. Choose whichever suits you. He then handed her a pack of sanitary pads. All women use these. Figure it out yourself. Kuang Ho examined the pack, clearly confused. Next, he handed her the books he had bought. This one is a history book. Though somewhat fictional, you can treat it as general knowledge. And this one is about obstetrics and gynecology. Might be useful, at least take a look. Glancing at the computer, he thought, I should teach her the basics so she can search for information on her own. No wonder she felt so tired last night. I couldn't sleep until midnight either. Did you not sleep well last night? Hua Than asked. Rest a bit now. We shall talk more tomorrow. Any questions for me? Kuang Hoa asked. What Sip's your status in this world? Thinking, Hua Than replied. Status? I stemp a recent graduate about to enter society, currently unemployed. In your terms, I step finished my exams but haven't step become an official yet. I step looking for a job to make a living. Huang Hoa frowned. So you stare from a wealthy family? Not at all, he said immediately. I come from a poor background. In this world there are many professions, 360 trades. Not everyone who studies becomes an official. She guessed silently. Then maybe he steps a landlord. Opening a book, she saw an ancient painting inside. Her eyes welled up. So how can I return? Hua Than answered nervously. I don't stet know. It might be difficult. How did you get here yesterday? I was chasing a thief, Kuang Ho explained. It rained heavily. I got lost in the forest, walked back and forth, and then saw this tall room. Hua Than looked out the window thinking, there's no forest around here. He comforted her. Just stay here and live well. We still figure out how to get you back later. Seeing her dejected, he changed the subject. I want to ask, how strong are you? I mean, how seps your martial arts? I'm considered quite strong in the Diam Bang, Kuang Hoa answered honestly. Hua Than stared at her, impressed. What does this to quite strong seps mean? What internal energy do you practice? Does your swordsmanship include lightness skills? How high can you jump without getting hurt? Guang Hoa slowly walked over. Perhaps I could jump from here without any problem. Hua Than Sip's eyes widened as he followed the direction Guang Ho pointed. That Sips, the 4th floor, he exclaimed. Excitement bubbled up in him, and he asked eagerly, do you know internal energy, dragon subduing 18 palms longevity scripture, demonic great method? Guang Hoa raised an eyebrow. What are those? Curiosity gleaming in his eyes, Hua Than pressed on. How do you practice your martial arts? Can I learn it? Guang Hoa hesitated, her expression unreadable. You stare too old. Even with determination and willpower, you won't set achieve much. Hua Than smiled. It sets okay, I don't set need great achievements. Just learning is enough. I tell take you as my master. Seeing her remain silent, he scratched his head nervously. Is the master very strict? She shook her head. It steps just a few tricks from the Jianghu. How can I be called a master? She stepped forward and said, watch carefully. Guang Ho assumed a stance, and began to explain. To practice martial arts, you must first train your waist. To train the waist, you must first practice standing. Power must come from the ground. Hua Than waved his hand. Wait, are we starting now? She shook her head. You still already old. Martial arts is a long-term thing. You have to accumulate it bit by bit. He clasped his hands eagerly, so we don't set to practice standing first. How can you practice martial arts without it? She asked. He sighed. How long does it take to practice standing? Guang Ho raised her hand honestly. Just 3 years. Hua Than froze. 3 years? If he could even stand steady, he said to have joined the army by now. Desperate for quicker results, he asked. What about swordsmanship? Can I learn sword techniques directly? Guang Hoa shook her head firmly. That one's set to work either. Your hands can set keep up with your eyes, and your eyes can set keep up with your hands. You can only learn a few common movements. Hua Than slumped in despair. Turning away, he muttered dejectedly. All right, go try on the clothes first. If they don't set fit, I shall take them back. For the other things, take your time. If you don't set understand, I shall figure out a way to teach you. Guang Hoa nodded, seeming to understand, and went into the room to change. Meanwhile, Hua Than ran to her sword, drew it, and swung it experimentally, twirling it as if he were a real swordsman, but it was heavy, and he soon gave up. Moments later, Guang Hoa emerged. She had changed into a simple modern outfit, her hair neatly tied. She looked far prettier than before. Approaching Hua Than Han, she said politely, I still tried everything on, they fit perfectly. Thank you, young man. Hua Than smiled. It sets nothing. Don't set move, turn around for me so I can see. She obeyed, spinning slowly. Hua Than's eyes immediately darted to her hair. I forgot to buy hair ties. This one looks strange. Let your hair down for now, he instructed. Guang Hoa untied her hair. Hua Than asked cautiously, how seps that? The sight before him was breathtaking. With her hair down, Guang Hoa's beauty was striking, almost surreal. Guang Than pinched his nose to prevent an embarrassing reaction. Going out like this should be fine, he thought. As long as she doesn't sit, speak or move too much, no one will notice anything unusual. Fortunately, she sits intelligent. Only her knowledge is lacking, not her mind. He spoke aloud. Tonight, I shall take you for a walk and buy new hair ties. Don't set forget what I have told you. Later in the afternoon, Hua Than was playing on the computer when Guang Ho peeked through the door crack. What are you doing? She asked. Hua Than turned. Oh, it steps you. This is called a computer, hard to explain. Think of it as a 1,000-mile eye. I can see things happening far away. Is that book difficult to read? He asked. Yes, very difficult. I'm reading slowly, she replied. Hua Than He smiled. Take your time. No need to rush. After all, who has ever encountered something like this? If it happened to me, I might not even be as good as you. Guang Ho felt a faint warmth in her chest, touched by his words. Hua Than clicked the mouse and wrote something down. Curiously, Guang Ho asked, Don speed, people need to go out to work. He glanced at her. This is work. In this world, to make money, you must use your brain. She considered this. A merchant? Not exactly. Hua Than said, resting his chin on his hand, but you can understand it that way. Later when you understand this world better, you'll see. For now start with basic knowledge, history, modern development. You can't understand everything quickly, so just get a general impression. While explaining, Hua Than felt a swell of pride, seeing her absorb the information. Suddenly he remembered something. By the way, how was martial arts in your Tang dynasty? Guang Hoasip's eyes sparkled. Very powerful. Hua Than laughed inwardly and opened a wuxia movie clip on the computer. Both sides fought fiercely, evenly matched. Guang Ho leaned in, watching intently, her eyes shining. After a while, Hua Than coughed and turned off the video. Is it really that powerful? He asked, expectantly. Guang Ho remained frozen. her expression statue-like. Slowly she replied, This martial arts has already reached immortality. Hearing Hua Than's words, Kuang Ho immediately pictured herself fighting alongside the characters on the screen. Just imagining it made her face flush, a flicker of color crossing her usually composed expression. Kuang Than sat beside her, his eyes glued to the video, marveling quietly at every scene. The next clip drew his full attention. Excited, he invited Kuang Hoa closer. Watch this, he said. On the screen, a man performed kung fu, striking his opponent with a single hand. The impact was so strong that the opponent could do nothing but cry out, "Ouch!" Kuang Ho froze, her face tightening with displeasure, her whole body trembling as she stared at the scene. Kuang Ho frowned, noticed her silence, and tried to lighten the mood. Well? Kuang Hoa struggled to speak, her voice low and serious. This is really your people Sip's strength. The intensity in her tone and her grave expression startled Hoa Than, stealing the smile from his face. He stammered nervously. No, it's Sep's all fake. We made it using props. It's Sep's just a film. Kuang Hoa narrowed her eyes, scrutinizing him like a seasoned investigator, questioning a criminal. Kuang Thang flinched under her gaze, forced to insist. Really, it's Sep's fake. The martial arts are not real. My words are true. He pointed at the screen, trying to explain further. Look here, see the clothing? So many styles in one world. It sets all imagination, our idea of ancient people or wuxia characters, set in the past, but staged with props. Understand? San Kuang Ho gave him a sidelong glance. Only then did Kuang Ho Than to relax slightly, chuckling nervously. It seps okay if you don't else it understand now. Once you get used to this world, you set all understand what cinema and art are. Then, curiosity got the better of him. So the Kung Fu in the Tang dynasty, was it really that powerful? Kuang Hoa answered earnestly. Yes, almost like this, but not the body movement. No qinggong. She gestured to illustrate, making Hua Than nod thoughtfully. She sighed. It sets like ordinary people just specialized in one area. Hua Than's earlier question made her recall the movie scene he had described. She analyzed it carefully in the camp. Only someone like Niang could achieve such movement, and even her hand techniques were not as formidable. If one used the Rulai Divine Palm, achieving that would be impossible. Her serious demeanor even affected Hua Than. A spark of inspiration flashed in his eyes. He pointed at the screen again. Excited, see this? It sits like creating after images with bare hands. And their sits sound too. I sep not saying I don't sit believe you. I just want to broaden your horizons. Kuang Hoa didn't refuse. She said, standing decisively. Her eyes sharpened, and she began demonstrating several kung fu moves for Hua Thom. Watching her, Hua Than's jaw dropped further and further. Is it really like that? He asked. Kuang Hoa glanced at him, serious. Hua Than nodded rapidly, unable to contain himself. Wow, yes. After finishing, she turned to leave. If you want to learn, just tell me. I'll teach you, she said calmly. Hua Than felt his knees weaken, his eyes shining like a disciple about to be accepted. For a moment he looked foolishly ecstatic, entirely absorbed by the prospect of learning. Huang Ho, unbothered, simply ignored his antics. Suddenly a small ball rolled to her feet. Looking down she saw a cat. Her expression instantly turned cold. Without hesitation she stormed into her room and slammed the door shut, leaving the bewildered cat meowing outside. Once inside, she exhaled a long, quiet sigh. Indeed, there are no good people without a purpose. A good person acting without reason is unsettling. She realized Hua Than's eagerness to learn Kung Fu explained all his strange actions. This world, it is dangerous. Her instincts sharpened. Slowly she looked around the spacious room and drew her sword. Let's practice a bit. The summer noon stretched on, and the sounds of her practice echoed through the room. Hua Than, outside, wondered aloud, Hey, what's Sep's she doing? Isn't Sep's she supposed to be napping? Speaking of naps, his mouth involuntarily yawned. I'm so sleepy. He stretched and prepared to lie down, already imagining the comfort of bed. Flopping onto his own bed, Hua Than had dreamily thought, It's unbelievable. The image of Kuang Ho has completely filled my mind. Across the hall, a female warrior practiced with deadly precision. Just the thought made him smile uncontrollably, cheeks flushing with embarrassment. But another swoosh from Kung Ha's room startled him, pulling him from his reverie. Time slipped by, and soon the sun was nearing the horizon. Hokda Thang awoke groggily, stretching. Oh no, what time is it? I was supposed to nap, but I slept until evening. How did I sleep so long? Hua Than immediately got out of bed, determination written across his face. It's time to take her out for a walk, broaden her horizons, he thought. He hurried to wake Kuang Hoa. As she put on her shoes, he reminded her carefully, almost like giving a battle briefing, just bring your eyes and ears. Don't speak unless I say so. If you have questions, ask when we get back. Don't jump too high, don't run too far. Just quietly follow beside me. Understand? Kuang Hoa replied lazily, not showing much emotion. Before stepping outside, Hua Than took out his phone to snap a photo. Huang Hoa, noticing his serious expression, tilted her head in curiosity. What step's wrong? Why are you taking a photo like that? Smile a bit, Hua Than instructed. Huang Hoa complied, but her smile was anything but gentle. It was sharp, eerie, and wild, more like a demon than a human. Huang Than jumped back slightly. This is terrifying. Laughing awkwardly, he said, all right. Your expression is too weird. Just don't move around randomly. It's a normal walk outside, very safe. He reached to help her put away the sword, but Huang Ho instantly assumed a defensive posture, taking a step back and gripping her hilt tighter. Hoa Thanis groaned internally, but explained patiently. Everyone on the street is like me, weak as a chicken. They may look big, but one punch and it's over. You understand? Kong Ho considered his words carefully. Slowly her gaze shifted from the sword to her fists. After a moment, she nodded in agreement. I understand. Seizing the moment, Hua Than quickly took another photo of her. Hearing the click, Kuang Hoa turned suspiciously, but all she saw was him putting the phone away with a sheepish smile. Let's go. Walk outside first. Follow me, okay? And so, they stepped out. For Kong Hoa, vigilance remained her top priority. Every direction, every shadow was checked before she felt even a fraction of ease. Hoa Than led, pointing things out as they walked. This is a residential area. People live in these houses. Over there is the main gate that leads to the main road. Shops line the street. You can buy whatever you need. As soon as a delivery person passed by, Kuang Hoasip's eyes lit up, and she almost dashed forward. Hua Then quickly restrained her. Calm down. Secretly, he chuckled to himself. He taking an ancient person for a walk in the city. Is there anyone else like me? They walked a bit further when an older lady spotted Kuang Hoa. Surprise registered clearly on her face. Oh. Hua Than quickly stepped forward, forcing a smile. What step's wrong, auntie? Kuang Hoa instinctively turned away, avoiding the woman's gaze. Hua Than's heart pounded. This girl, so alert, even now looked familiar to the stranger. From behind, Mr. Zhao teased, Little Hua, is this your girlfriend? Hua Than laughed awkwardly. Ha, just a friend. But the lady Sep's expression hardened. She had seen Kuang Hoa with the sword yesterday, and the seriousness returned. The security guard, sensing tension, asked eagerly, what sword? She's carrying a long black sword, the woman explained. Hua Than acted quickly. Oh, it's Set's cosplay. Young people like to dress as zombies, fairies, and things like that. Japanese culture, you probably don't Set know. The two immediately relaxed, nodding in understanding. Phew. Hua Than grabbed Kuang Hoasip's wrist. Come on, let's go. Need to cook dinner, auntie. They moved swiftly, stepping out of sight. Mr. Zhao shook his head, sighing. Young people these days, so many games we never had. Once clear, Kuang Ho freed her hand from his grip. Kuang Tang, still cautious, whispered, Did she see you yesterday? You two must have run into each other. She just glanced at you, right? Kuang Ho remained silent. Kuang Thang guessed correctly. Their walk continued, and fortunately, it had been nothing more than a quick glance. Had it been a more curious or pushy person, or a less cautious Kuang Hoa, the situation could have escalated quickly. Suddenly, a car sped by, and Kuang Hoa Sip's eyes widened in astonishment. It runs so fast. Hua Than grinned, observing her reactions. This was her first real experience with the modern world, and every moment was a new discovery. Hua Than's eyes sparkled with excitement as he explained the next marvel of the modern world. That, he said, pointing to a passing vehicle, is called a car. 4 wheels, a metal shell like a horse carriage. But it doesn't need horses to pull it. You can imagine it as if horses run inside the car itself, powering it forward. Kuang Ho immediately pictured the strange fusion of a carriage and running horses, her mind filling with a bizarre image. Next, he pointed up at the surveillance cameras lining the streets. Those are the heavenly eyes, he explained dramatically. The movies we watched this afternoon were all filmed using these. They're everywhere. Right now as we stand here, there could be people watching us through the heavenly eyes. He made a face to scare her, hoping to emphasize his point. Kong Hoa's eyes widened slightly, but Hua Thane quickly reassured her. Don't worry, normally no one is watching. People aren't that free. But if you display high martial arts skill or act unusually, the officials will notice immediately and rush over. While Hua Than was talking non-stop, Huang Hoa silently turned and walked away, catching him off guard. Oh, where are you going? He wondered aloud. He soon noticed her picking up several stones from the roadside. Huh, what are you picking up stones for? He asked, confused. Kuang Ho simply glanced toward a camera and took a stance. Horror washed over Hua Thamor. Hey, Don said tell me you stet going to throw it. She looked at him blankly, as if he had said nothing at all. Hua Than could only sigh helplessly. Just put the stones back where you found them. They continued to an intersection. where Hua Than took the opportunity to teach her the rules of the road. "This is a traffic light," he explained. "Red means stop, green means go. You must follow these rules. If you don't, the cars are dangerous, and it's against the law. Wait for the pedestrian light to turn green, then we can cross." As they crossed the street together, everything in this world was a fresh experience for Kwang Hoa. Her eyes darted around curiously, but her vigilance never wavered. Even against a harmless dog, she assumed a defensive stance. When they reached a shop filled with sparkling items, Hua Than picked up a hair tie and asked cautiously, "What do you think of this?" He remembered her intense curiosity from earlier and quickly chose one that seemed more suitable. Kwang Hoa peered over, fascinated by the display of women's Sips jewelry. Hua Than noticed her interest and smiled, asking, "Do you like this?" She grabbed the hair tie and fiddled with it, pulling it left and right, leaving him momentarily speechless. Luckily, she soon discovered the correct way to use it, and tied her hair neatly into a ponytail. Hua Than's heart skipped a beat. Her ponytail suited her perfectly, and he couldn't help but blush at the sight. As night fell, Hua Than led her to a small snack shop he often visited. "Boss, 2 portions of baked pastries, add some chili, and a plate of pickled vegetables too." The owner nodded cheerfully. Hua Than explained to Kwang Hoa, "This is where we eat. I also buy lunch here, and sometimes dinner. The food is delicious, portions are generous, and I've been coming here since I was a kid." Kwang Hoa looked around curiously, absorbing yet another piece of this strange modern world. On her very first visit, Kwang Hoa's eyes wandered curiously across the room. She kept glancing left and right, trying to take everything in. The moment she noticed the night sky outside the window, her gaze brightened. For a while she quietly admired the view. Across from her, Hua Than sat in silence, simply watching her. Suddenly the owner's voice rang out, and in an instant the table was filled with food. Startled, Kwang Hoa looked down at the feast laid before them. Hua Than calmly picked up a pair of chopsticks, handed them to her, and said gently, "Eat up." Shyly accepting them, she whispered her thanks. Hua Than remained opposite her, sipping his beer in small mouthfuls, his eyes still fixed on her. Watching her eat so heartily, he could not help but think to himself, if this warrior woman stays here, the future might become more complicated than I ever imagined. All I can do is take things one step at a time. Finally, he tasted the food himself. After the very first bite, he praised aloud, "It's delicious." Soon the dishes were emptied and the owner came to settle the bill. Hua Than left the restaurant with a satisfied smile, patting his full stomach. "Phew, I'm so full. Let's go home," he said warmly. Back at the house, Kwang Hoa went to wash her hands. From outside, Hua Than called, "Now do you believe it?" When she returned to the couch, he continued, his tone persuasive. "See, this isn't a bad life at all. People here live peacefully. There's food, drinks, computers, everything you'd ever want. No need to spend every day worrying about being killed. If we can solve the identity issue, you'll be able to enjoy countless things you've never experienced before. Even if it's just through simple labor, you'll feel comfortable and free. This is actually a good thing." Kwang Hoa sat silently for a moment, then softly confessed, "I want to go home." His answer came at once, blunt and final. "But you can sit. It's been 1200 years. His words struck her like a stone, unyielding and true. There was simply no way back. Resigned, she asked instead, "Then how do we solve the identity issue?" Picking up a winter melon as if to distract himself, Hua Than admitted, "I'm not a government official. I don't really know the process, but we figure it out slowly. For now you just need to integrate into this society. Don't make mistakes. Don't worry, I'll help you." His reassurance brought color to her cheeks. Blushing, she raised her voice in gratitude. "Thank you, young hero." Hua Than, amused, responded with theatrical flair. "It's nothing, but you must understand, in this world identity is everything. Without it, moving around becomes impossible. But you must understand, in this world identity is everything." He suddenly remembered something. "Where's that paper I wrote yesterday?" he asked. "You crumpled it up and threw it away," she answered, coolly. His face froze in embarrassment. When she retrieved the wrinkled sheet and asked, "If we can't solve the ID problem, what should we do?" His tone grew serious. "You'd be an illegal resident. That means no rights, no work, and no benefits. You couldn't even rent a house. Travel would be restricted. No trains, no buses, and unlike your world, there are no horses here. If a dispute arises, the authorities won't help you because you don't officially exist. Life without an ID is nearly impossible." Kwang Hoa, thinking quickly, asked, "If I earn money and find a place to live, wouldn't that solve the problem?" But Hua Than shook his head. "No, there are countless things you still couldn't do. Phones, bank accounts, online services, none of these would be available to you. If this were 20 years ago, things might have been easier, but now the system is strict, almost hellish." He sighed. "You could go to the authorities, but whether they treat you kindly or strip away your freedom, no one can predict. It might be a blessing or a curse." At the mere mention of the authorities, Kwang Hoa Sip's hand instinctively moved toward her sword. Huan Hoa Sip's hand exefing gave a helpless laugh. Relax, it's Sip's just a hypothesis. For now, learn about this world Sip's history first. Once you understand it, then decide for yourself. As he searched intently online, Kuang Ho hesitated before asking softly, "Am I too much of a burden for you?" Without even looking up, he replied calmly, "Not at all. As long as you don't set fight or kill, living here is actually quite good." At that moment, Bai Dao the cat appeared, meowing softly, as if to lighten the tension in the room. As soon as Huathan noticed Bai Dao, he couldn't help but smile. "I forgot to feed you," he said happily. Before attending to the cat, he turned to Kuang Hoa and reminded her gently, "All right, if you have nothing else to do, go study quickly." "Yes." Kuang Ho replied softly though, a hint of sadness lingered in her voice. Huathan spent some time searching online, but the results he found didn't seem very feasible. Nothing substantial came of it. Sighing, he muttered to himself, "Let's see if we can find wisdom in times of difficulty." A name suddenly caught his attention. Tan Ha. He's a powerful police officer now. I wonder if he's past the probation period yet. Anyway, let's try asking him. Acting on this thought, Huathan sent a message. The reply came quickly. "Hey buddy, what sips up? Need something?" Seeing Kuang Ho's stern expression, and the way her hand rested on her sword, he hesitated. Better change the subject, he thought, typing back casually. "Nothing, just haven't seen you in a while. Let's go out for a meal." Tan Hao didn't refuse. He agreed immediately, setting the time. Huathan felt a small sense of relief. With that task arranged, it was time to relax, starting with a shower. After freshening up, his mood lifted considerably. Suddenly a thought struck him. She hasn't showered yet, has she? But he shrugged. The habits of people from the past would take time to change. Going out only once a day meant showering wasn't urgent. Still, another realization hit him. He had forgotten to buy her sleepwear. Instantly, his imagination ran wild, picturing Kuang Hoa seeing him in a compromising situation and performing a mantis fist strike. Panicking, he dashed back to his room and slammed the door shut just in time. Luckily, he hadn't been seen. Once the coast was clear, Kuang Ho moved quietly. With the agility of a martial arts expert, she darted into the bathroom and shut the door, finally enjoying a rare moment of comfort. Even people from the past bathed regularly. Today was Saturday, and Huathan had brought her something new. "This is a handwriting pad," he said proudly. "It recognizes traditional characters, and its voice recognition is very accurate. Try writing a few words." Just then, a familiar sound interrupted them. Meow. Bai Dao was back, demanding attention. Huathan picked up the cat. "Study first. I set'll feed Bai Dao." Curious, Kuang Hoa asked about the bag he held. "Cat food," he explained. "It's sets for the cat." She looked surprised. "You even have food for cats here?" Noticing her expression, Huathan clarified, "It's seps not what you think. Humans make this. It doesn't set grow naturally. Who has time to grow food for cats?" Before they could continue, the delivery person called from outside. Huathan handed the bag to Huang Hoa. "This is your dinner for tonight. Later I'll go meet a friend to ask about the ID situation. If anything happens, I'll teach you how to use the computer for long-distance communication. Don't run around, okay?" Watching her eat happily, Huathan couldn't help but smile. Bai Dao, still hopeful, approached her, meowing. Huathan picked up the chubby cat. "Bai Dao, eat your own food. You can't have hers," he explained. The Kuang Hoa frowned. "Can't I feed it?" "No," Huathan said firmly. "It's not good for its health." His words struck her sharply. "Boo-hoo, not tasty," she muttered. Later, Huathan patiently showed Kuang Ho how to use QQ chat. "I'm not hiding in the computer to talk. Just think of it as long-distance communication," he explained. Once ready, he left for the meeting point. Tan Hao was already there, waving as Huathan arrived. They quickly sat down and toasted. Huathan asked about Tan Hao's work, curious about his life as a police officer. Tan Hao laughed bitterly. "Feelings? My ass. It's completely different from what I imagined. At first I thought I'd fight bad guys, save people, be a hero." He downed his glass of wine in one go, but there's none of that. Every day is just trivial matters. Lovers quarreling, neighbors in conflict, they all call me to mediate. I haven't even seen a single thief. It's just mediation, mediation, and more mediation. I don't know where all these trivial matters come from. Huathan chuckled. "Doesn't that just prove people are living peacefully and happily? Tell me, do you think every police officer has heroic dreams like yours?" He remembered that Tan Hao had always dreamed of becoming a police officer since childhood, though he had stopped growing at one point, only reaching 1.60 meters. After learning that the minimum health check standard required a height of 1.7 meters, Tan Hao had hugged Huathan and cried in frustration. Fortunately, the height requirement was later removed. Overjoyed, he threw himself into high jump practice day and night. Even while eating grilled meat skewers, he would ponder the possibilities and challenges ahead. Now finally, he had become a police officer. "Don't say any more," he groaned. I feel like I'm going crazy. Before you arrived, I was just observing the surroundings. If at that moment some guy with a knife had appeared, I would have jumped in to fight him. Only then would I have felt satisfied. Hwathan imagined the scene and quickly waved his hand. Stop daydreaming, he said. Glancing outside, Hwathan suddenly asked, I have something to ask. I don't know if you steer clear about it. Tan Hao, focused on gnawing a grilled meat skewer, replied irritably, what is it? Hwathan continued carefully, it's just hypothetical. Suppose there's a wanderer who has lost their memory and wants to get an ID card to apply for a job, but they don't have one. How would they get it? He replied calmly, it can be done. You think getting an ID card is as easy as buying vegetables on the street. Without proper documents, it sets illegal residence. It just can be done. Hwathan pressed further. Exactly because it's illegal, it needs to be done somehow. Right? Tan Hao's eyebrows furrowed, sensing something unusual. Becoming serious, he leaned forward. What's going on? Do you have someone who needs this? A friend? What's their name? Where are they now? Hwathan feigned ignorance. It's just my grandfather's neighbor's nephew. He's in a rather complicated situation. Tan Hao remained skeptical. Don't talk nonsense, he muttered. Pouring wine, Tan Hao explained patiently. Illegal residence can be resolved without documents proving identity, finding parents, DNA verification, or something similar. Otherwise, a person appearing suddenly cannot just exist. Hwathan asked, so what about wanderers, homeless people, or those without ID documents? Tan Hao replied quickly, unless there's suspicious behavior, we usually ask a few questions, check if they are fugitives, and investigate missing persons or DNA. If they not wanted, there's nothing more we can do. Suspicious? He asked again. Something not right. Are you up to something? Hwathan shrugged. What could I possibly be up to? You just started your job. You are really paranoid. Do you think I in hiding a wanted criminal and using a cop like you to cover it up? Tan Hao chuckled. I don't think you have the guts for that. Usually we check ID information, verify missing persons and DNA if needed. If they not wanted, that's it. Hwathan asked again, so if you don't investigate those three things, there's no problem. Tan Hao, slightly irritated, replied, if there's no issue, then nothing more can be done. Trying to tease him, Hwathan said, aren't I just trying to find a topic of conversation? What else do two single guys like us have to talk about? Tan Hao's eyes lit up mischievously. Alright, if I keep asking, you might handcuff me or take me in for questioning. Who knows? I might even find my father if you investigate missing persons. Waving his hand, he added, get out of here. You're so nosy. Investigating foreign registration or mental patients seems more like you are the one who needs help. Did you come from Nanshan Hospital? Hwathan pressed further. What if the investigation doesn't turn up anything? Tan Hao answered simply, then let them go. They haven't committed a crime. Hwathan frowned. But how do they solve their identification issue? How can they live without it? Patiently, Tan Hao explained, it can be solved. Think of it like this, if I held a knife and stabbed you, causing your death. Hwathan interrupted irritably. Don't stab me. Go stab someone else. Tan Hao continued. Now suppose someone goes out, harms others, then gets plastic surgery, returns claiming amnesia, and tries to live a new life. Is that possible? No. Everyone leaves traces. No one just appears out of nowhere. Normal people always leave evidence of their existence. Pride lit his eyes as he added, this is what forensic scientist Edmund Locard called the golden rule. Hwathan Hess snorted. Wake up. You are just a cop who mediates arguments now. What golden rule are you talking about? Tan Hao was hit in the heart. His face flushed red with anger as they nearly finished a case of beer together. Tan Hao slumped face down on the table, exhausted. He looked at Hwathan and said with a drunken slur, you're the best. Can you just go home? Don't go to work tomorrow. You'll still have to mediate arguments between some aunties. Despite his intoxication, he still called the owner to pay the bill, pretending to cover the cost himself. The owner, patient but slightly annoyed, gave them the total 128 yuan. Hwathan was surprised. Really? Yes, the owner replied. Our shop has a promotion, buy 100, get 50 free. Consider it a few extra skewers for free. Do you want to pack some to take away? Remembering Kuang Hoasip's fondness for grilled skewers, Hwathan agreed, then please pack some beef skewers and fried fish balls. He quickly called a taxi to take them home. The two waved goodbye, and he sighed, thinking, what a troublesome guy, but also quite interesting. Back home, Hwathan reflected on the countless people and forgotten stories buried by time, now reduced to dust. Yet somehow, a small grain of sand had leapt into his life, crossing his path. As he entered, he announced loudly, I'm back. He immediately noticed Kuang Hoa sleeping on the sofa, Bai Dao curled beside her. The scene was unexpectedly adorable, and he felt a sudden blush rise to his cheeks. Kuang Ho woke abruptly, her face dark with suspicion. "You're back," she said. "Dinner was a bit early," Hua Than explained, smiling. "I was afraid you still be hungry." "Thank you," she replied softly. Pretending to quarrel, he said, "Thank who?" "Thank you, Hero Hua," she admitted shyly. Hua Than was overjoyed, covering his face with his hand and waving dismissively. "It's nothing," he said. He quickly sat beside her, opening the food and handing it over. She sniffed the dishes and asked, "Did you drink a lot?" "Not much, just a few bottles," he reassured her. Hua Than helped her open a yogurt cup. "This is called yogurt, try licking it first," he demonstrated, bringing it to his tongue. Guhong Hoa imitated him, her bright eyes full of curiosity. She resembled a little cat, and the sight made Hua Than smile secretly, satisfied. "Eat quickly," he instructed. "Drink it all at once, don't let it get cold." She nodded obediently. He turned away for a moment, thinking silently, it's nice to come home to lights on, someone in the room, the breath of life. Just after finishing his shower, he stepped out and noticed Kuang Hoa studying diligently. He was a bit surprised. "Still studying?" he asked. He approached her. "Now that your living conditions are good, you can bathe and wash every day. Feel free, no need to save for me." He checked if her clothes fit well. Kuang Hoa became slightly mischievous, recalling the awkward scene from the morning, and her cheeks turned red. Hoa Than Ho noticed her embarrassment and comforted her. All right, let me teach you how to use the hairdryer." She said nothing, only nodded in agreement. The clock had passed 10 o'clock. Kuang Hoa looked gloomy, holding a dress in her hand, seemingly dissatisfied. Imagining two different versions of herself, she felt embarrassed and quickly threw the dress aside. Taking the opportunity, she went to take a shower. As she dried her hair, she thought, "Can I really bathe every day? How lucky I am to have met such a kind young hero, helping me gradually adapt to everything here." Looking in the mirror, she realized relying on others wasn't a long-term solution. Reaching for the towel, she resolved to take it one step at a time, learning to understand this world. Opening the window, sunlight flooded the room. Kuang Hoa rubbed her eyes and became fully alert. Surprised to see Hoa Than already awake and working diligently, she asked, "What work are you doing?" "Just checking the news," he replied quickly. A cold, serious air suddenly emanated from her. "You starred not from the government, are you?" "No, I am not," he explained hurriedly. "If I were, your identity would be easily exposed." "Are you hungry?" he asked, smiling. "It's rare to see you up early today. Let me go buy breakfast. Do you want to come along?" She shook her head shyly. "It's not necessary." "Alright, then I'll go by myself. You continue watching TikTok," he said. The morning air was fresh and pleasant as Hua Than walked outside. Suddenly someone called his name. He approached quickly. "What's the matter, Aunt Shen, Uncle Chen? Are you discussing important national affairs?" The aunt hurriedly asked, "Have you heard any noises lately when sleeping at night?" "What happened? Is there a thief?" he inquired. "There might be ghosts in our area," the old man said slowly, pointing at their pet dog. "A few nights ago at midnight something scared it. Its tail was tucked in and it wouldn't come out no matter how we called. I found it strange." He turned to the man beside him. "Did you see it too, Uncle Zhao?" "I didn't see it," the man replied, smoking, "but I recorded it on video." Everyone gasped. Hua Than quickly led them to the police station to review the footage. All eyes focused intently on the screen, the apartment complex appearing before them. "What?" Suddenly all four were too scared to speak, their faces dark and tense. Hua Than helplessly covered his face with his hand, thinking to himself that her agility was indeed remarkable. "This won't do. I must quickly return and ask that young lady why she was causing trouble in the middle of the night." He glanced at the group, still discussing endlessly. Is it really a ghost? Could it just be a stray cat? How could a cat jump like that? He wondered how many security cameras outside might have captured it. Turning to Uncle Zhao, he asked, "Did anything else happen last night?" The man shook his head. "No." Trying to shift the conversation, Hua Than said, "For now let's just keep monitoring the situation. Maybe it was just a ghost passing by." The aunt couldn't resist commenting. "Passing by? Do ghosts even gossip?" "Why not?" she added. "Maybe it was just passing through our area. I pay more attention these days." Hua Than breathed a quiet sigh of relief. Finally it's resolved. If the police were called, it would have been disastrous. Returning home, he angrily confronted Kuang Hoa. "You snuck out in the middle of the night, didn't you?" Seeing his fierce expression, she immediately admitted it. "How did you know?" He groaned, holding his head. "The cameras and surveillance footage captured your image." She fell silent, and he sat down beside her, continuing his questioning. "What color clothes did you wear?" "Black," she replied cautiously. "I covered my face." Hua Than exhaled in relief. "You scared me to death. As long as your face wasn't exposed, no one could trace you here. Raising someone from ancient times is truly thrilling." He stopped the interrogation and instructed her firmly. "In the future, if you want to go out, tell me. I still take you. While you stutter here, don't set run around on your own. Your identity in this world is very dangerous. Don't set run wild. Okay. Kumulhao anxiously asked, have I caused trouble? He nodded. It's good that you understand. Now everyone outside thinks it was caused by ghosts. Caused by ghosts? She asked bewilderedly. Huatheneth picked up his phone, searching quickly. Let's see if there are any videos of ancient people time traveling to the present and getting hurt or worse. Countless videos appeared. Kuang Hoa looked at him with confusion. Regret crept in as she rubbed her hands over her clothes. If I still caused you so much trouble, I still leave now. He stopped her immediately. The most important thing for you now is to learn quickly. Wait a bit. I still order food from outside. What do you want? Hamburger, fried chicken wrap, or pizza? She smiled, answering quickly. Something healthy, hero. Huathanhin considered, then teased. Something healthy? Then you can eat cat food. With that, he turned and left, leaving her pouting. He took the opportunity to gather clothes, washing and hanging them. She watched his every move carefully. He guided her patiently. This is called a washing machine. It's used to wash clothes. Very convenient. If you want to wash your clothes, you can put them in here too. Does it wash clean? She asked. Much cleaner than hand washing, he replied, pouring in detergent. She immediately ran to fetch her dirty clothes and loaded them into the machine. Suddenly Huathan noticed something and picked it up, causing her to blush deeply. She snatched it back and ran off like the wind. Huathan stared in disbelief. Foot binding cloth? She still binds her feet, and she can still practice such high-level martial arts. The washing machine continued its cycle. Huathan pondered, recalling the last time he saw her change into grass shoes. Her feet looked normal then. Now something was clearly different. He looked through her browsing history, trying to understand, but felt speechless. Tentatively, he asked, "What step's that? Lift your foot and let me see." "No," she snapped angrily. Huathan remembered something, his face darkening. A few days ago he had bought a set of underwear in various sizes, which she hadn't worn. It wasn't due to malnutrition, it had to be because of foot binding. Oh no, how embarrassing. Why did I ask a girl about this? Her eyes flashed red, her face pale, as if ready to draw her sword. She turned and left, leaving him holding his head, unsure of what to say. Suddenly, she paused and turned back. Huathen, seizing the moment to make amends, recited, "The beauties of the world are hard to compare to those of Chu. The songstresses of Chu are considered the homeland of the most beautiful women, the hometown of beauties, a girl from Donglin. This girl has a moderate figure, neither tall nor short, natural beauty, no need for makeup. Eyelashes, skin, waist, teeth, every part is beautiful. When she smiles, that beauty is indescribable. Who knows how many have fallen for her." And he didn't stop there. The lecher's wife, Huathan explained, was far from beautiful. Her hair was messy, her ears crooked, her lips chapped, and her teeth broken. Her waist was uneven, her body covered in sores, and she suffered from severe hemorrhoids. Yet despite all this, the lecher loved her dearly. He even had 5 children with her. Huathanan moved closer, pretending to threaten, and said, "5 children, impressive, right?" Feigning anger, he continued, "Marrying such an ugly wife and still living in harmony with many children and grandchildren, the lecher is truly the best man in the world. Indeed, he is our ideal role model." Seeing her stunned, as if struck by Erlang Shensip's technique, Huathan smiled and added, "From now on, I am the lecher." He teased her further. Donstant people often talk about repaying kindness. If the benefactor is ugly, they say they shall be a cow or horse in the next life to repay the debt. Pausing, he added mischievously, "No need to repay. This humble girl is willing to repay with her body." Kuang Ho immediately blushed, anger flaring as her ears stood up. Kuan Thien stopped, raising his hands. "Don't set be angry, I was just joking." He placed her sword in front of him as a shield, and apologized sincerely. "I too am sorry, I was wrong." Shifting the topic, Huathan advised, "Enough joking, but we should learn a bit from this. Although that long white ribbon can be used, in modern times, we can enjoy the best things the era offers. Keeping those old customs isn't right. Moreover, the clothes have already been bought. We can't waste them. I've decided on this." 5 minutes, he said. She nodded in agreement. True to his word, 5 minutes later he returned home. He asked her how she felt. Trembling, she asked hesitantly, "Do people here live like this, so unrestrained?" Huathan frowned slightly. "Unrestrained, it sets for comfort. People wear what sets comfortable and enjoy life. Isn't set that normal?" She stood up angrily. "Shameless." He calmly asked, "Then what do you consider shameful?" She stammered, cheeks flushed, unable to answer clearly. Huathan explained patiently, "That's old-fashioned thinking. Haven't you seen it on the streets? Those girls show their thighs and waists. That's human freedom. If men can show skin, why can't women? If you can't accept it, wear long skirts or pants, but don't call them shameless." She puffed her cheeks, still unconvinced, and loudly declared, Unacceptable is unacceptable. Huathan smiled, conceding. Alright, then accepts unacceptable. Let Seps change the subject. Gently, he coaxed her to calm down and shifted to teaching her the computer. This computer, he said, can be used for studying, working, and playing games. The games inside are very interesting. Scientific research shows that 90% of people initially learn to use computers through games. She listened attentively. Huathan guessed she wasn't part of the remaining 10%. He opened a game for her, Mario. The bright screen made her eyes shine, her mouth agape with fascination. While she played, he thought carefully, he needed to find something for her to do at home. If she only went out to learn every day, always thinking about martial arts, it wouldn't be good. What if she fully understood this society one day and left without a word, or went searching for her ancient Chonjon? It was better for her to stay home and play games. Suddenly, he placed his hand in front of her face. All right, you've been playing for over an hour. She snapped out of it. Huathan smiled. Let me teach you how to play Du Des Jeux, he said. Observing her as she played, he didn't interrupt, returning to the bedroom yawning and closing the door behind him. Luckily, he hadn't gone to work that day. He thought, even if the interview had been successful, picking up a female warrior from 1200 years ago, I would have to give up that job anyway. With that, he decided to take things one step at a time, quickly closing his eyes and falling asleep. By evening, the sunset painted the sky beautifully. Kwong Haos was still at the computer, completely absorbed. Kwong Ha Fan, now awake, stepped out yawning. It's Set's time, he said. Let Sets go eat out. This time I shall take you east. He instructed her, change that skirt, and you don't need to tie your hair up, just let it down. The other night, you tied it up, right? He poured a full glass of water and advised her, changing your hairstyle is very useful for changing impressions. It makes people not think of that person from that day as you. She thought for a moment, then agreed. Following his suggestion, she wore a long yukata hair down, looking gentle and sweet. She approached him shyly, asking, is this okay? Seeing her like this, Huathan was a bit surprised. Her cheeks flushed with shyness. He pretended to look elsewhere, thinking silently, ancient aura, oh my, truly mystical. After a moment's thought, Huathan said, alright, change back to your previous outfit. This one is too eye-catching. Hearing this, Kwong Ho's face darkened, her fists clenching in anger. Kwong Ho's Thane turned away, looking up something, imagining her in various outfits. She looked beautiful in every version, and when she wore the long dress, it even moved him slightly. So this is the feeling that makes people feel warm, he thought. After changing, the two went out together. Uncle Zhao noticed her appearance and asked, taking your girlfriend for a walk? Huathan awkwardly replied, just a friend. The old man pretended to be serious about work, holding a piece of wood in his hand. Huathan stared at it and asked, is this peach wood? The old man raised the stick and explained, no, this is just temporary. We don't have peach wood in stock yet. The passers-by looked frightened. Suddenly the old man struck a pose. Do I look like Guangong? He asked with a forced smile. Hothamhan gave a thumbs up and said, very similar. The old man reminded them, it's getting dark. Be careful. Kuang Hoa kept staring at the stick, thinking, is this a sword? Kuang Then was speechless. This is really creating karma, he thought. They walked together along the autumn leaf-covered road, the sunset casting a romantic glow. She hesitated, stammering as if thinking about something. Finally she asked, what Sep's a girlfriend? Huathan quickly replied, just a friend. She continued, then why add the word girl? Because you steer a girl, he answered. She frowned, irritated. Then why did you say it Set's not? He played dumb. Even if I explain now, you wouldn't Set understand. You still know later. Still unsatisfied, she felt a little hurt. Huathan glanced at her, thinking, if she knew what girlfriend meant, she might pack her bags and run away in the night. Quickly, he shifted to another topic. That Sep's right, the Tang dynasty fell. When you watched that video about dynasty changes earlier, how did you feel? She just shook her head, still observing the busy evening street as they walked. Kurong Hoa thought to herself that this place didn't forbid people from going out at night. The streets were peaceful, free from crowding, muddy patches, or bumps. The air carried indescribable sensations she had never experienced before. Even the prosperous times second mother had mentioned couldn't compare. Everywhere was safe, and the sky above stretched endlessly dreamlike. Huathan interrupted her thoughts. Would the female warrior like some bubble tea? She looked confused. Tea? Before she could ask more, he led her to a nearby shop and ordered pearl milk tea and lemon water with less ice and less sugar. Handing her the drink, he explained, this is bubble tea. In your era, you definitely couldn't drink this. The pearls are the black things. They're edible, and very sweet. Try it. She glanced at the shop owner and asked, do they make money from this? Can I learn this work too? Yes, you could learn it, but you can't earn money yet. You don't have an ID card, he replied. Her face fell slightly. Huathan consoled her, The identity issue will take time. It can set be solved all at once. Don't set worry. We shall find a solution. For now, let's not talk about it. Drink your bubble tea first. Kwang Hoa took a big sip, her expression strange at first. Kwan Ah Thane asked, how does it taste? Not good. She blinked, then replied, it seeps a bit strange, and the pearls are hard to chew. He laughed. I think so too. Why do people like to drink this? Her face darkened slightly, thinking, if it's hard for him, why did he buy it for me? He smiled, because I heard girls like sweet things. I thought you said you like it. My drink is sour, maybe you stitch you're not used to it. He offered her his straw. Try it. She sipped carefully. The cool liquid flowed through the straw into her mouth. Her eyes lit up. This seems very delicious, she said. He handed her his lemon tea and took the pearl milk tea himself. We Steph already bought them. It's would be a waste otherwise. Hua Than smiled, satisfied. I Steph am glad you like it. The food on their table was almost finished. Hua Than Ha rubbed his full stomach and burped, announcing, later let's take a walk to digest and then go home. Huang Hoa softly agreed. They left the restaurant and strolled along the street. Suddenly, something caught Hua Than Hest's eye. He pointed and said, I'll take you to a very interesting place. They waited for the bus together and Hua Than smiled, reassuring her, don't be afraid, just follow me. Kwang Hoa curiously hid behind Hoa Than, watching him put coins into the box in front of them. Then he guided her onto the bus and helped her find a seat. You sit by the window, Hua Than said patiently. It's more convenient to enjoy the view there. The passengers settled in, and the bus slowly started moving, merging into the busy traffic. He glanced at her and asked, isn't this vehicle very stable? Folding his arms, he added, I thought you said be surprised. You look so calm. I've ridden in horse carriages before, Kwang Ho replied calmly. The bus announcement sounded, this is Lanjiang Bridge Station. Please exit the bus in an orderly manner. Hua Than led her off the bus while introducing the surroundings. This place is called Lanjiang, he said. Before them stretched a city glittering with lights, full of color and vibrancy. In your era, nights must have been very dark, he continued. Now it steps different. This is the night scene of a modern city. Kuang Hoa Sip's eyes widened, still adjusting to the dazzling view. She asked, is this really 1,000 years later? Hua Than nodded. You've already seen more than half of history. Surely you must have your own answer by now. They leaned against the railing together, looking down at the city. 1,200 years had brought enormous changes. Hua Than noticed a trace of loneliness in her eyes, as if the splendor around her didn't belong to her. He quietly raised his phone to capture the moment. Perhaps she could never go back. While the identity issue was difficult, returning to her own time would be even more challenging. Staying here, he thought, might actually be a good choice. Sky high and deep sea, anything is possible. Humans have even been to the moon. Seeing her beautiful silhouette captured on his screen, he tried to comfort her. If one day we can get you an ID, I still take you on an airplane to tour the sky. Kuang Hoa looked up, seemingly not fully understanding. Up in the sky, he affirmed, in the future we might even be able to travel to the moon, but right now talking about that is too far-fetched. For now, you shall stay in my small room to learn and understand this world. She asked quietly, and then what? Hua Than thought for a moment and replied, then we continue living. His voice held excitement. Given enough time, you still definitely find something you like, and a lifestyle that suits you. Live here, integrate here, enjoy the prosperity after 1,200 years. He checked his phone. It's getting late. Suddenly Kuang Ho's eyes lit up with sparkling colors. Brilliant fireworks bloomed in the night sky, as if opening a bright future ahead. The soft light illuminated Hua Than's face, giving him a gentler expression. This is the best era in thousands of years, he thought. There's no reason it can't accommodate a girl, even one who arrived unexpectedly from elsewhere. Turning to her, he asked, what are you thinking about? She replied softly, I dreamed thinking that if second mother saw this world, she would be very happy. Hua Than remained silent but smiled after a moment. Yes, I must see all of this on behalf of second mother, first master, second master and third master. Welcome to this era. The next morning, Hua Than, as usual, was watching the morning news. Seeing the latest updates, he muttered irritably, how sinful, pretending to be thieves mischievously at midnight, has made people go out less at night now. Police patrols will increase, and I can't take her out either. She'll have to stay at home. Kuang Hoa interrupted his thoughts. Hua Than, there are many people over there watching something. What is it? Curious, he approached the window. Whatever he saw made his eyes widen, and he smirked. They're watching a sorcerer catching ghosts, he said. Are all people here like this? Kuang Hoa asked doubtfully. It's like being in prison. In the morning, they eat breakfast at home, then use the computer, order lunch online, play on the computer again, then have dinner in the evening. Hua Than chuckled nervously. Of course not. This is called being a Thedhouse man. It's a type of lifestyle. She looked confused. I don't understand. He tried to explain. It means I can choose to go out, or I can choose to stay at home. Going out for a walk is tiring, so I lie at home, like a master, staying at home every day, leisurely raising dogs and cats. Kuang Ho nodded slowly, her understanding forming. I want to go out for a walk, she said. Huathen was surprised. Go out for a walk? Do you mean you want to leave here? Before Kuang Hoa could answer, he continued, speaking rapidly. Don't joke around. What can you do if you leave? Not to mention other things. Just consider food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. For clothing, you might not need to change much. And for transportation, you can use your 2 feet. But what about shelter? Are you going to sneak into someone's house to sleep? And food? What will you eat? Will you rob or steal? He paused, taking a breath, then added, I could give you some money. You've learned to eat at restaurants, but a person without a livelihood will run out of money eventually. When that time comes, you'll have no choice but to break the law or rely on kind-hearted people. There are no nearby forests for you to hunt wild boars. He trailed off, then muttered, oh, or you could dig through trash cans. Kuang Hoa stared blankly at the bread in her hand. Having no identity in this era, indeed made every step difficult. Kuan Than noticed her deep thought and gently consoled her. Changing habits, lifestyle, and knowledge of life. These are all very difficult. I understand. His voice softened, but everything has to be gradual. At least now you know how to use public transportation. And you can recognize money, right? That SIP's already a big step forward. Kuang Hoa looked discouraged. I can't learn anything, she said quietly. Hua Then held her hand reassuringly. No, you've learned a lot. At least now when I explain things to you, you don't draw your sword anymore. If I give you money, you can live on your own for a while. Compared to when you first arrived more than a month ago, you're much stronger. Just keep learning slowly. When the ghost incidents outside settle down, I'll take you out for walks more often. Some things you have to experience yourself to understand. She asked doubtfully, are there really ghosts causing trouble outside? Hua Then pointed to the window. The Taoist priest is still dancing out there. When you can earn money later, you can pay me back. He continued. If you can set, then we need to find a job for you. I still think about what kind of work you can do. Kuang Hoastess' eyes brightened with gratitude. Thank you, young hero. Hua Then moved the mouse thoughtfully. Proper jobs were not really an option yet, but this was the internet era. Practicing an ancient style might help her pass the time, and she could also chat with others. For someone new to this world, earning money wasn't simple. The premise was whether she wanted to learn. He smiled and waved at her. Come here and try this. See if you can learn it. Guang Ho approached curiously. How do I play? Can Set I do things like you, follow people and make money? That SEP's complicated, Hua Than replied. You can Sets learn that now. You need to learn a lot of things first and gain experience. Suddenly, the door opened. Hua Than Hamsit's eyes widened. Who is it? He asked anxiously. Turning to Kuang Hoa, he said urgently, go back to your room. The voice outside continued, calling urgently. Open the door. Come here. Come here. Hua Than's heart raced. It's my family outside. You quickly go hide in the room. Huan Han hesitated, confused. Outsiders could open the door at will, but family members required hiding. Seeing her reluctance, he gently pushed her shoulder. The knocking continued. Finally, he opened the door, relieved to see who it was. Hua Than blinked. Why did Dad come here? The man didn't answer directly. Coldly, he said, call me the landlord. He looked around at the work screen and added, still haven't found a job? Hua Than has stretched lazily. A landlord like you, Dad, even cares about your son finding a job? Oh come on, just give me money. That SEP's enough. Why look for a job? My lifestyle is already good. His father SIP's voice tightened with anger. You step graduated from university, and you step are not looking for a proper job. Speculating and profiteering all day, is that any way to live? You need a real job. Hua Than interrupted impatiently. Then find me a cowshed to work in. Here, take this. You came here yourself to see if I SEP in working or not. It SEP's the National Day holiday. Who SEP's working? You came to check electricity and water bills. His father SIP's anger deepened. If you haven't found a job by next month, I will increase the rent. Let's see how long you can stay at home then. Hua Than Hel deliberately changed the subject. By the way, Dad, did you see that Taoist priest when you came here just now? Yes, I did, his father replied cautiously. This place is haunted, Hua Than continued. It's SIP's not safe. The environment is terrible. You should lower the rent. Finally, his father agreed to leave. Nonsense, go find a job soon, he said. But then something caught his father SEP's eye. His face changed dramatically as he called out. Hua Than. Hua Than panicked. Dad, let me explain. Yet his father SEP's next words left him frozen. Are you now learning to wear this kind of clothing too? The room fell into tense silence. Hua Than paused, silently weighing whether to admit the truth or not. It was a tricky dilemma. Compared to the shock of a boy wearing women's clothes, the sudden presence of a girl in the house seemed less startling. He could conceal it for a while, but not forever. As soon as his father went out to chat with Zheng Shen'er, the truth would come out. Gossip would surely spread about a girl staying in the house. Finally, he made a decision. She Step's actually just a friend, he told himself. Trying to smile, he explained aloud. It Step's a long story. My friend, her sister. That Sip's right. It Step's my friend. Sip's sister, staying over for a few days. Then he knocked gently on Kuang Hoa Sip's door. Open up, he called. The door creaked open slowly, revealing the girl standing there with a timid expression. Hua Than introduced her carefully, hoping she wouldn't do anything to raise suspicion. Dad, this is Kuang Hoa. Kuang Hoa froze, unsure how to greet him. She fell into deep thought, glancing at Hua Than for guidance. He whispered, call him uncle. His father Sep's intuition made him wary. Had the girl almost called him dad, his expression grew even more serious. Kuang Hoa, bowing politely, said softly, hello uncle, hello. Hua Than scratched his face, and continued his deception. Anyway, that's how it is. She'll be staying here for a while. The girl nodded to confirm. But his father suddenly grabbed Hua Than's hand. That come here, he said, voice serious, making the moment tense. Hua looked worried, but his father quickly reassured her. Hua lo, it set's okay. Really, it set's fine. Now tell me, what set's really going on? Hua Than crossed his arms. It's just as I said, a friend is staying over. Nothing to worry about, Dad. Don't scare her. The spare key I gave you before, give it to her for now. When she leaves, I'll return it. He thought to himself, I must get that spare key back. Otherwise, if either Dad or Mom encounters Kuang Hoa alone, unnecessary trouble could arise. His father Sip's suspicion didn't waver. Is she your girlfriend? He asked. Hua Than denied it. His father frowned. She almost called me Sudadad Sip just now. Hua Than was shocked. You must have misheard. How old is she anyway? His father pressed. 1002. Oh, no. I mean 18 years old. The room fell into a tense silence. Finally, his father sighed in frustration. Eustace are creating bad karma. Hua Than replied irritably. What bad karma? She Sep's just staying here temporarily. Even if we were actually dating, it would still be perfectly normal. How can you call that bad karma? His father fell silent, deep in thought. He had come to lecture his son about rent and jobs, yet now a girl who almost called him dad had appeared in the house. His tone shifted back to lecturing. This kid doesn't even have a proper job. Hua Than shot back angrily. As long as I can make money, why do I need a job? It's the age of technology now. I've explained this to you many times, but you still say there's no guarantee. Fine, I'll transfer the rent to you, Dad. After you get it, leave the key here. How much is the water bill this month? 230 yuan, his father replied. Hua Than checked his account. Only 208 yuan remained. If I give it all, what will I eat? But to avoid further nagging, he decided to transfer everything. Alright, give me the key. I've never heard of a landlord keeping a key to freely enter the house they're renting out. This is my house, his father retorted. I've already rented it, Hua Than said sharply. Pay on time. Don't make me come collect every month. Once you find a job, you can live wherever you want. But if you don't, the rent still has to be paid, more expensive than other places. His father handed over the key. If you're not satisfied, rent somewhere else, he said. Hua Than thought quietly. The old man is clever. Renting from him is more expensive, but the rent money will still stay in my hands. If I rent elsewhere, that money goes to someone else. His father spoke again. Your mother sits calling us back for dinner. He pointed toward the door. Hua Than quickly interrupted. She Step's just my friend, not my girlfriend. His father scoffed. Do you think your dad looks like an idiot? Hua Than sighed, conceding, alright. I still have things to do. I'll come home when I step free. You always said young people dating too early leads to trouble. This is better than last time, his father said. Hua Than raised his voice to stop him. Dad, that Sip's in the past. Don't bring it up again. Go find a job quickly, and we still talk then. At the door, his father paused, then added, remember to be safe. Hua Than felt frustrated, unable to explain that Kuang Hoa was really just a friend, but suddenly an idea sparked in his mind. Hua Than called out urgently, Dad, wait. Both of them bent down to examine the straw shoes lying on the ground. Why are you showing this to me? His father asked. Hua Than replied eagerly, look, it's Sep's an antique from the Tang dynasty. How much do you think it could sell for? His father, an experienced archaeologist, immediately raised an eyebrow. Wait, which Tang dynasty are you talking about? Probably the Tang Taizong era? Hua Than pointed at the shoes excitedly. See, aren't they valuable? His father Sip's face shifted to worry. I don't know if they Sips were valuable or not, but you should probably get a mental checkup at Nanshan Hospital. As his father left, Hua-Than was left confused. Why did he go? His father must have thought holding a pair of straw shoes with a modern logo and calling them Tang Dynasty antiques. Maybe it's time to consider having another child. Then he muttered, playing too many computer games makes people stupid. Play less, go out for walks more often. Hua-Than sighed. His dreams of striking it rich seemed to vanish. To him, these straw shoes could be pre-Qin era or even from the Kaiyuan period. It wouldn't have been wrong. After all, who would have thought that history and the present were separated by just a thin membrane? One poke through it and a person falls out. He forced a persuasive smile. Come on, Dad, take a closer look. Maybe we can turn them into antiques. His father Sip's eyes lit up. Oh, you mean make them look old to pass as antiques? What followed was an angry lecture. Can Setsu do something proper for work? Stop thinking about nonsense all day. Learn from Qin Hao. Old Tan brags about his son being a police officer wherever he goes. When asked about you, I don't even have the face to speak. Hua-Than scratched his head, embarrassed. Freelance work is still work. He quickly hid the shoes behind his back so Kuang Hoa wouldn't see them, otherwise she might think he had a strange obsession with straw shoes. His father muttered about freedom, then turned sharply. Freedom my ass. And now you stare trying to pass off tattered shoes as antiques. If you weren't already grown up, he paused, reaching for the sword on the table. I set give you a beating. Hua-Than's heart skipped. If his father took the sword, Huang Hoa would be angry. That sword was something she always carried, even while eating. He reached out. It's just a toy I bought, he tried to explain. His father's grip didn't loosen. Let go, he demanded. Hua-Than refused, both hands tightly holding the sword. Haha, it's just a toy. How could it be an antique? He said nervously. His father remained silent, and tension filled the room. Finally, he had to compromise. All right, let me see it. He bent down to examine the sword carefully. Could this really be an antique? The sword slid slowly from its sheath, gleaming a brilliant silver. Hua-Than's heart pounded with every centimeter. His father's expression darkened. How is it? Hua-Than asked anxiously. Suddenly his father shouted in anger, give it back. He flung the sword without mercy, leaving Hua-Than stunned. His father strode away irritably. Go find yourself a decent job. If not, take the civil service exam. Serve the people. Then came the sound of the door slamming shut. Hua-Than examined the sword closely. No oxidation, not a single scratch. It looked exactly like a toy from thousands of years ago. Calling it an antique? Nobody would believe it. He noticed Kuang Hoa peeking. Stop sneaking glances. This needs to be kept carefully. Don't take it out carelessly. Then he turned to her. What were you about to call my dad earlier? I didn't know how to address him properly, she admitted. Hua-Than explained patiently. That Sip's my dad, my father, they all mean the same thing. You can just call him Sunkle Sip. If you meet my mom in the future, you can call her Sunki. She thought for a moment and nodded. I remember now, call him uncle. Then Kuang Ho asked, by the way, don't you want to learn martial arts anymore? Hua-Than remembered the last time someone named Hua tried standing in a horse stance and couldn't last even 5 minutes. He laughed and replied, is there any way to quickly become a master, any powerful technique? She shook her head. There are no shortcuts in martial arts training. Her honest answer made him laugh out loud. Hua-Than rubbed his temples, deep in thought. In today's peaceful society, what use was martial arts training? Out in the world, it offered almost no advantage. Fighting someone would only land you in trouble, possibly having to pay compensation. Training his ass. Suffering now was supposed to be for enjoying later, but if there were no real benefits, why put yourself through it? To him it seemed almost like a form of self-inflicted illness. Then suddenly, he sat up straight, eyes lighting up with enthusiasm as he turned to his true specialty. Let's play games, he declared. We'll leave the training for later. Learning to survive is a process. Even a child who begins to understand the world starts by playing games. Building blocks, puzzles, they're all games. Online games, also games. There's no difference. And with that, Hua-Than decided that for now, the best way to help Kuang Ho adapt to this new era was to let her learn through the most natural and enjoyable method play. Finally, Kuang Hoa sat properly in front of the glowing computer screen. Kuang Hoa-Than stood beside her, patiently guiding her step by step. Click here now. Don't worry about that, he instructed calmly. After a while, she began to understand the basics. Her eyes widened with curiosity. So this is a game, but how do you make money by playing it? She asked. Hua-Than replied with a faint smile. Once you learned it well, you can farm for other people. Confused, Kuang Hoa tilted her head. Farm for whom? Why would anyone need that? Hua-Than paused for a moment, thinking carefully. If he explained it poorly, she might lose interest, or worse, think he was deceiving her. Finally, he said, this is just a form of entertainment, something to pass the time when you're full, and have nothing else to do. Think of it as simply playing. He continued. But here sips the point. There are countless players, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, and among them, many don't sit have the time to play. Not everyone is as free as you or me. Those people are willing to pay idle players like you to farm for them. Kuang Ho was stunned. Unbelievable. They actually pay others to play their games. That's right, Hua Than explained. They've already spent money buying the game, but instead of spending their own time, they hire us to play for them. It's like raising crickets for landlords. When you've trained them enough, they'll take them out to play directly. Do you understand? Besides, being addicted to games is still better than pretending to be a ghost scaring people at midnight. As for the future, first learn to survive. Only then can we talk about anything else. While the two spoke, the fat household cat lived in a world of its own. Unlike its owner, it had no worries. After a long nap, it stretched lazily before waddling toward Hua Than, rubbing against his legs. Go, play somewhere else, Hua Than muttered, pushing it away gently. Rejected, the cat turned toward Kuang Hoa, who was still focused on the game. With a sway of its round body, it leapt onto the table and nestled comfortably in her lap. Startled but amused, Kuang Hoa smiled. Strange cat, she whispered. Night soon fell. At the police station, the lights still burned brightly. Officers worked diligently, their desks covered with files and reports. Suddenly, one of them broke the silence. Is anyone hungry? Let's order some food. Another chimed in. I am hungry too. Where should we order from? How about Pyramid? Sounds good. Anyone else? How? Are you hungry? The young man turned at the sound of his name. I'm not that hungry, thanks, he replied, before sighing softly to himself. Today is really idle, nothing to do. The moment those words left his mouth, the others froze. They all turned and stared at him in disbelief. What? Why are you all looking at me like that? Tan Hao asked, bewildered. One officer finally spoke. Didn't set your master ever teach you? Never say things like that inside the station. Scratching his head, Tan Hao asked innocently, which sentence? The officers shook their heads helplessly. Without another word, they pushed their food menus aside and returned to their desks. We'll be working overtime all night now, one muttered. Later, as they stepped outside, the senior officer explained, listen carefully. Never ever say things like set today is idle sip or set. Nothing to do. It sets a kind of unspoken rule. Once you say it, the night will never stay peaceful. Instead, chaos always follows. Tan Hao frowned. Why? That makes no sense. The officer sighed. It states mysticism. You once said understand, but remember, never say it. Quietly, Tan Hao thought to himself, so this is what Cheng Zi meant by planting a flag. They reached an old apartment complex. The officer pointed up. 6th floor, apartment 14. As they moved closer, they spotted a drunken man sprawled by the wall, clutching a bottle tightly. The officer shined his flashlight. Hey, what are you doing lying here? The man stirred, his eyes bleary. Why are you so late? Been waiting forever. Tell that woman to open the door already. The overwhelming stench of alcohol hit Tan Hao like a wave. He covered his nose while the senior officer stayed composed and knocked firmly on the door. We received a report of a disturbance. Please open the door and cooperate with us. A woman peeked out nervously. Officer, I didn't report anything. It must have been the neighbors. My husband was making too much noise. But the drunkard shouted angrily. The one who called. You locked me out, you bitch. How dare you treat me like this? The officer frowned. Is he your husband? Yes, he is, she admitted softly. I locked him out because he was drunk again. I warned him last time. I'm so sorry, officer. The man's rage flared. He jabbed his finger at her face, yelling, you dare discipline me. You dare lock me out. What's wrong with having a few drinks? I'll teach you a lesson. Seeing his aggression, the officer pulled out his handcuffs. Fine, let's take you to the station to sober up. At once, the drunk man trembled, his bravado gone. No, that sip's not necessary. I'm sober now, completely sober. Behind them, Tan Hao allowed himself a small smile. Another big case solved. Impressive, he thought. After mediating the earlier situation, the two officers went downstairs together. Suddenly, the walkie-talkie on the senior officer's hip crackled to life. Situation in Area A. He turned and gave Tan Hao a sharp look. Without a word, his expression seemed to say, see, this is the trouble your careless words have brought us. Elsewhere, Hua Than was enjoying a deep sleep when a series of strange noises woke him up. Rubbing his head in confusion, he muttered, what's that sound? He opened the door and spotted a shadow moving in the living room. His first thought was that the female warrior was up to her old tricks again, pretending to be a ghost to scare people in the middle of the night. Certain of it, he pushed the door open and called out, hey female warrior, sneaking out again. But when the lights came on, his assumption shattered. It wasn't Kuang Hoa at all, but a thief rummaging through the house. Hua Than froze, his words stuck in his throat. "Who are you?" he blurted. The commotion woke Kuang Hoa as well. She stepped into the hall just as Hoa Thanher realized what was happening. The thief, startled by the sudden noise, panicked and bolted. "Stop right there," Hua Than shouted, ready to chase after him. But before he could move, a blur shot past him. Huang Ho. Like a gust of wind, she closed the distance, and with a single hand, seized the thief by the head. Her slender fingers tightened, her eyes blazing with fury. To Hua Than's shock, sinewy strength rippled beneath her skin, forcing the man to the ground as he trembled in terror. "Stop, stop, stop," Hua Than cried, rushing over. "Any more force and it'd still turn into murder. Let him go quickly." Obeying his words, she released the grip. The thief, now exposed, collapsed to his knees. Too shaken to flee, he stayed put. Kong Hoa remained tense, her sharp gaze locked on him, ready to strike if he dared to move again. Hua Than rubbed his face, sighing in disbelief. Heavens, what's going on here? In mere seconds, she had pinned down a full-grown man with nothing but one hand. On his arm, clear red handprints remained, proof of her terrifying strength. Helpless, Hua Than ordered, "Stay right there. I said we'll call my police officer friend to deal with you." The thief, an orange-haired youth, instantly dropped his pride. "Big brother, please let me go. Don Set report me. I was just foolish for a moment. I shall never do it again." Kumon Hoa's spit's stern glare silenced him, making his fear worse. "Please big brother, forgive me. Cough, cough. Yustef already punished me enough." Fed up, Hua Than scolded. "You have hands and feet. Why not work honestly? Do you think money just falls from the sky? Looking at you, I doubt this is your first time." The thief shook his head violently. No, it's the first time, I swear. Please be merciful and don't call the police." Hua Than thought bitterly. "If there's a next time, you'd better have the same luck you had tonight. To think you came here because of rumors about ghosts, only to almost be strangled by this girl. With her strength, she seemed less like a trickster and more like a martial arts champion." Deciding to test him, Hua Than asked coldly, "So this is really your first time?" "Yes, I swear to heaven it's true," the thief pleaded. After a long pause, Hua Than finally pointed to the window. "Then get out the same way you came in. We still pretend nothing happened." Grateful, the thief scrambled up and leapt out the window, calling out loudly as he fled. "Thank you big brother, big sister. I wish you both peace." Hua Than shook his head, scratching at his hair. "Middle of the night, and you still shouting like that. If someone reports you for disturbing the peace, don't blame me." Kuang Ho poked her head out curiously. "You were just letting him go like that?" Closing the window with some effort, Hua Than sighed. "What else can we do? If we involve the police, who knows if you'll be blamed for attacking him? Not to mention your unique identity. If they handle it officially with interrogations and paperwork, I can't protect you. Scaring him off is the cleanest solution." But Kuang Hoa still looked unconvinced. "He came to steal, and yet I might be held responsible for hitting him?" Hua Than patiently explained to her, "Stealing is one matter, but you hitting someone is another. Whether it counts against you depends on the extent of his injuries. It can get complicated." Then he frowned and asked, "Wait, why are you still fully dressed? Were you planning to sneak out again?" Kuang Hoa calmly replied that she was used to sleeping in that outfit. She had only stepped out earlier because she heard noises and wanted to check. Kuang Than waved his hand, as if to say he understood. "You think everyone is like you, wandering outside in the middle of the night like an owl. Stop overthinking. Go back to sleep. Tomorrow I still call someone to fix the broken window. I stump turning off the lights now." Before leaving, he didn't forget to wish her good night. Kuang Hoa answered warmly, Good night." The scene shifted to the next morning. The sun shone brightly, and Hua Than was already up, brushing his teeth and washing his face with practiced elegance. Drying off, he stepped out just as Kong Hoa walked by, tying her hair. Her graceful posture revealed her striking figure. "Good morning," Hua Than greeted. She gave a small nod while fixing her hair. He smiled knowingly. "You were hiding in the training room again this morning, weren't you?" Kuang Hoa casually removed her tie and flipped her hair back. Excited, Hua Than quickly added, "Next time, leave the door open. Let me see how you train." To his surprise, she agreed easily. "All right." Caught off guard, Hua Than blurted out, "Don't be so petty, hero." Then he thought to himself in disbelief. She actually agreed so readily. Has the sun risen from the west today? Kuang Hoa noticed his strange expression. "You stare so odd. If I refuse, you complain. If I agree, you still complain. Which is it?" Hua Than forced himself to stay composed. "Calm down, Hua Than. A true man doesn't fuss over small things." He changed the subject. "Let's head out for breakfast. We also need to find someone to repair the window." Looking up at the sky, he reflected aloud. "I thought about it all night. Just learning theory at home isn't enough. If you really want to survive, you must experience life. See more, hear more, learn more. Life is the best teacher. Do you understand?" Of course, Kuang Hoa didn't. She looked puzzled. "Learn how?" Hua Then explained patiently. Forget your old ways of thinking. Abandon the place you came from. Let everything around you become new. She repeated softly, everything new. He nodded. For example, take last night's Seps thief. If you face something like that again, you can subdue him, but don't use so much force. You nearly broke his neck. Kwang Hoa clenched her fist, her knuckles tightening. No, I held back a lot. Even concealed, that fist radiated terrifying strength. That's good, Hothem said, though uneasily. But remember, this injuring people here causes endless trouble. Even if they're bad, you can't let them die, or the authorities will misunderstand. Considering your power, no one can really threaten you, but that's why you must not act rashly. Don't use force unless it's absolutely necessary. Kwang Hoa tilted her head. Then how much force should I use? He rubbed his chin thoughtfully. It depends on the situation. For example, why are you hitting someone in the first place? Her eyes sharpened. If you sneak into my room in the middle of the night, should I use heavy force? The question hit Hua Than like a slap. Nonsense. Don said even say that. Is that to never do such a thing? Change the example. Do you think I set him that kind of person? She stared seriously. It sounds very similar. Similar? In what way? Hua Than fumed. I am a young hero with noble character, upright, honest. How dare you compare me to such a thing? I'll believe you for now, she replied coolly. What do you mean for now? He barked. Why would you even think I sneak into your room? Such ridiculous ideas. Inwardly, he thought guiltily. Alright, I did throw her straw shoes into the trash and then fish them out again, but I swear I never did anything else. Kwang Ho avoided his gaze. It sets because you said it first. He blinked. Said what? You said you were a lecher. What? That was just a joke. Hua Than snapped. Besides, you seen how weak I am. If I even tried something, you to knock me out with one punch. Who would be that stupid? Though, that's nothing to brag about either. He fell silent, then asked hesitantly, so if something like that ever really happened, what would you do? Without hesitation, she replied, I stood to punch you once. His face went pale. One punch from her, that would probably kill me, he thought grimly. Moments later, Hua Than led her into a restaurant. We stir here, he said, before turning to the waiter. 2 of the usual, please. Yes, sir, the waiter replied. As they waited, Hua Than looked across the table. From now on, you must feel life and experience it. Remember this day. Her expression softened. She raised her hands, staring at her slender fingers. Remember, she whispered. But in her heart, another memory surfaced. Those same hands once drenched in blood. No more holding swords. No more killing, she told herself. The food arrived, interrupting her thoughts. The waiter placed the dishes down. Please enjoy. Thank you, Hua Than replied. The table was filled with food, steamed buns, bread, eggs, and a bowl of hot porridge. Kwang Hoa picked up a steamed bun, took a bite, and immediately closed her eyes to savor its flavor. Enjoying it with delight, she exclaimed, "It sets really good." Across from her, Hua Than sat with a piece of bread in one hand and a spoon in the other, watching her closely. In his mind, he marveled at the thought, who would believe that this girl, eating a simple steamed bun, actually came from ancient times? Then, almost amused, he wondered whether the food portions back then had been as large as the ones she now enjoyed. He leaned forward and told her, if it sets not enough, you can get more. The porridge is unlimited, and if you want extra steamed buns, just tell the staff how many. I shall pay later. Kwang Hoa stared at the bun in her hand and asked curiously, is this steamed bun expensive? Hua Than quickly reassured her, not at all. Breakfast is the cheapest meal here. You don't need to worry about food. What matters is eating until you full. Just this little bit costs very little, so eat as much as you like. The moment she heard this, she stood up and went straight to the waiter. Watching her, Hua Than's thought to himself, it's like raising a child, but somehow I feel a strange sense of pride. She's clearly still hungry. Letting her experience life firsthand really is the right thing to do. Then came her bold request. Hello, can I have 15 more steamed buns, please? Hua Than almost choked on his porridge, coughing in shock. Cancel that order, he quickly told the waiter. The waiter nodded. Yes, sir. Turning to Kwang Hoa, Hua Than whispered, can you really eat that many? She confidently replied, of course. Am I eating too much? Her tone grew sheepish as she glanced at him. He sighed. Kwang Hoa, when I said you could eat freely, I didn't mean you should order so recklessly. It just draws unnecessary attention. When we stare outside, eat in normal portions. If you still want more, we can take some home, and you can eat 2 or 3 extra then. She took the porridge bowl, sipped lightly, and then said, I shall pay you back once I start earning money from playing games. Hua Than chuckled. Alright, I shall wait for that, female hero. Once they finished, Hua Than settled the bill. The owner smiled and said politely, thank you, please come again. Carrying a bag full of steamed buns, the two walked back. On the way, Hua Than's eyes caught sight of a self-service hot pot restaurant. Excitedly he said, "One day I shall take you to eat at a buffet." She tilted her head, puzzled. "What sip's that?" "It's sets where you pay a fixed price, and can eat as much as you want." Hua explained, "You eat until you can eat anymore. Like with the porridge earlier, except it's stet's not just porridge. There are vegetables, meat, and more. Once you go, you still understand immediately." Her eyes widened in surprise. "There are such good things. Isn't SIP that like a relief organization?" Hua laughed. "No, it's just a restaurant business model. Look here." He raised the bag of steamed buns in his hand. "Most people in this world are intellectual workers, like emperors in a way. They spend their whole day sitting dealing with work, not needing much physical strength, so they eat less. If you sit in a restaurant and eat 15 or 20 buns, it becomes noticeable. To fully blend into this society, you must hide your identity as someone from another time. That means being a little modest." Kuwang Hoa pulled out another steamed bun from the bag, and began eating as she listened. Hua Thanhen continued, "Because most people don't eat much. Some restaurants offer buffets. They charge a fixed amount, but since many eat less, the restaurant profits greatly, especially from women and children. Imagine paying 100 yuan but being able to eat for 3 weeks. That's how much profit they make." Hung Hoa nodded thoughtfully. "So if a few people eat more, it doesn't matter. The restaurant makes up for it from those who eat less." Pleased, Hua Then smiled. "Exactly. When I was little, the first time I went to a buffet with my father, I thought the owner was incredibly kind, letting everyone eat as much as they wanted." She looked at him curiously. "But isn't it a waste of money for someone who doesn't eat much?" "Not really," Hua Then explained. "At a buffet, you get the freedom to choose. Eat whatever you want without worrying about prices or picking specific dishes. That sets the value, convenience, and satisfaction." Kuwang Hoa fell silent, simply watching him. In Huan Than's mind, he reflected, "For someone like her who knows nothing of this world, every word I say becomes a lesson. Life may seem complicated, but every aspect connects together. Eventually there will be a breakthrough, a moment where she suddenly understands how this world truly works." Step by step, she was starting to integrate. But as they continued forward, they remained unaware that someone was silently following them from behind. 2 days later, Hua Then handed her a phone. "This is for you. Call me if anything happens." She looked at it, hesitating. "Is this phone expensive?" He smiled. "No, just a gift." Then in his mind, he noted that it was simply a secondary SIM on an Android phone worth just over 1,000 yuan, perfectly suited for her. Her face lit up with joy as she held it carefully, saying, "Oh, thank you, young hero." Unable to hide his happiness, Hua Than blushed. "No need to be so formal." Then he added, "Try calling me with it. Practice a little." She nodded eagerly. "Mm-hmm." Hua Than rubbed his forehead and thought, "It's done. With her intelligence, she'll learn quickly." Just as Hua Than was enjoying the moment, a sudden shift crossed his face. His thoughts turned uneasy. "Why do I feel like an NPC in someone else's game?" he wondered. Quickly, he dismissed it. "Forget it. If she learns faster, it's easier for me too." Grabbing his jacket, he told Kuang Hoa, "I sept am heading out for a while. Don't wait for me at dinner." She answered simply, "Okay." He added, "I might be late. If you don't feel like gaming, watch some card game videos or explore the phone. Since it's after work hours, just treat it as free time." Inwardly, he mused. "At first I worried she wouldn't take an interest in games. Now that she knows money can be made, she's hooked. But if she gets too obsessed, that'll be another problem." Kuhong Hoa, eyes fixed on the computer, asked, "Is controlling these little people running back and forth really considered work?" "Of course it is," he replied without hesitation. "And if you play after hours, that sips overtime. But since you sipped, you're still an intern, there's sips no extra pay." Then he reminded her, "Dinner sips already on the table. Call me if anything happens. Eat first, I sipped and leaving now." She nodded softly. "Moon, be careful on your way." With that, Hua Then left, stepping into a waiting taxi. On the ride, his thoughts drifted. "I haven't been back home since finding that incense stick. Maybe it's time." Before long, he arrived. Unlocking the door, he called out, "Mom, I stem home." The living room answered only with silence. Moments later, his father appeared with documents in hand. "Oh, you stir back." "Where Sep's mom?" Hua Then asked. "Out playing mahjong," his father replied casually. Hua Then frowned as he hung his jacket. "This late and you still haven't called her to come home." His father chuckled. "Talking about it just makes me hungry. Call her yourself. By the way, is it just you tonight? Where Sip's your girlfriend?" The word girlfriend caught Hua Then off guard. He quickly looked away. "What girlfriend? I already said we were just normal friends. She Sip's only staying over temporarily." His father raised his glasses and gave him a stern look. "Don't think I don't understand young people. If it were a guy staying over, would you allow it?" "Tan Hao has stayed over before," Hua Then argued. "That doesn't count," his father shot back. "If that kid were a girl, you sept already be calling her your girlfriend." The thought made Hua Then grimace. Enough nonsense, he muttered to himself. His father waved it off. Fine, I'll stop. Just call your mother back. Okay, Hua Then replied, dialing. As the phone rang, he thought bitterly, Mom never cares about time once she starts playing mahjong. I don't know how Dad has tolerated it for decades. Hello Mom, it's me, I stemp home. Uh-huh, she replied, hanging up now. The call ended abruptly. Silence filled the room as father and son sat together. Breaking it, Hua Then handed over a crumpled bill. Oh right, a thief broke into our place a few days ago. I had to fix the window and install anti-theft devices. Can you reimburse me? His father raised his brows. A thief? What sep's even worth stealing in your house? Irritated, Hua Then replied, is this a computer worth money? Taking the bill, his father muttered, don't stet you always sleep hugging that thing, who could steal it? Stop treating your computer like it's your wife. Then he glanced up. You still not hurt, are you? Puffing his chest, Hua Then said proudly, I drove him off. Though in truth, someone else had done it. I asked about you, not the thief, his father corrected. I beat him up, how could I be hurt? Hua Then shot back. His father could only sigh. Oh son. Just then, the door opened. His mother stepped in cheerfully. Fanhatsu, you set her back. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I already said so in the group chat at noon. You even replied, Hua Then reminded her. Oh, did I? She laughed, embarrassed. I must have been too busy and forgot. Then she hurried into the kitchen. I sell cook now, you two watch TV. Hua Then smirked to himself. Judging by her tone, she must have won big in mahjong, probably more than 10 points. From the kitchen, her voice called out, by the way, where's Sip's your girlfriend? He groaned. I don't instead have a girlfriend. Dad Sip's been spouting nonsense. Who's Sip spouting nonsense? His father said firmly. Her clothes are hanging here. You eat together, live together, even do laundry together. That's Sip's not what friends do. His mother gasped. What? You stare already living together? Why didn't you tell me sooner? That's exactly why we waited for him to come home. His father added with satisfaction. Exasperated, Hua Then snapped. Mom, Dad, you are both exaggerating. Later, when dinner was served, his mother pressed further. Do you have photos? Let me see. She suddenly remembered she'd once planned to visit herself, but his father had warned her not to intrude since the situation was unclear. Now, with her son home, she saw her chance to finally get answers. Hua Then casually replied, she's just a friend, 2 eyes, a nose, nothing special to see. Yet, inwardly he sighed. With his mother's nosy personality, it seemed impossible to avoid showing her something today. Resigned, he pulled out his phone and began searching. His mother's eyes lit up with excitement, full of expectation. Finally, Hua Then held up a photo of Kwang Ho. This is her. She Sep's just a friend, not a girlfriend. The moment his mother saw the picture, she exclaimed, oh, she's so pretty. She eagerly took the phone, examining the photo as if studying it in detail. Was this taken on Lanjiang Bridge? She asked while swiping through the gallery. Her praises flowed endlessly. This one is beautiful too. At this point, Hua Then was completely speechless. His mother continued teasing, You've taken so many pictures of your friend. Quickly, he snatched the phone back. Mom, don't overthink. You've seen them, now give it back. But in his heart, Hua Then he thought differently. This is my treasure. Why must she observe and judge whether she's pretty or not? As if she were already a daughter-in-law. Meanwhile, his mother's thoughts wandered. She noticed how casually her son snapped photos of the girl, whether sitting, walking, or simply existing. Although not yet a girlfriend, it was clear he harbored feelings. And with the girl living under his roof, she imagined the two growing close, shy glances, sparkling eyes, unspoken affection. Pulling herself back to the moment, she cleared her throat and asked, she looks very young. Is she 18? Where does she study? A reply came quickly. She doesn't go to school. His mother was stunned. Doesn't go to school. Such a pretty girl, and she doesn't study. Hua Then, calmly picking at the food in front of him, replied, what does being pretty have to do with studying? This isn't a beauty contest. Her family is poor. They can afford school. Isn't that perfectly reasonable? At this, his father spoke up. Does someone need to be talented to catch our son Sit's eye? He spends all day at home glued to his computer. He doesn't even have a job. His mother sighed deeply, resting her chin on her hand. What a pity, such a young girl. Unable to bear his father Sip's words, Hua Then interjected. Come on, Dad. Even if you want to nag me, I once let you. But his mother pressed further. How did you two meet? That girl isn't from Gang Than, is she? Hua Then have raised his hand, signaling them to stop. Better to talk about my matters instead. Inwardly he scoffed. The female warrior is struggling just to survive in this world, and here they are worrying about matchmaking. Truly unnecessary. Soon after, Hua Then stood at the door preparing to leave. I sips I'm going home now. You two sleep early, and mom, Dawn set play mahjong every day and leave dad hungry.